Hello and welcome to episode 40 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey and joined with me as always is Phil.
It's the big quiz, baby.
And Spencer.
Let's get fucking hammered, boys.
That's right, we are at the big quiz. Every 10 episodes, we each ask each other 5 questions. Each question we get wrong, we need to take a shot, and it gets messy. The last time we ran the quiz, I couldn't even get through the last topic. We just ended it after about 3 sentences of me rambling about guns for some reason, and it just ended. And it was brilliant. I loved it. Great episode 30. We're doing it again. So this episode, if you're here for in-depth PlayStation knowledge where we're making coherent sense and being a professional podcast, maybe this episode isn't for you. But if you want a good bit of banter, you want some PlayStation news and some opinion, and the rest of it kind of mindless babble, that's exactly what you're in for on this episode of In PS We Trust, which is exactly what we're going for. Because, boys, we are drinking hard today. We normally drink fairly decently, but we've become a little bit more professional over the last 10 episodes or so we don't get completely bladdered. Today, we are getting white boy wasted. So, guys, what are you drinking today? Spence, tradition states we start with you.
Right, well, as we know, I have a bit of tradition with drinking. Usually it's the buds. Sometimes I flavour in some ciders, mix it up. But when it comes to the hard stuff, when I really want to get drunk, there's only ever one choice I make. And that is my favourite whiskey, Jameson's. Oh, baby. And I'll tell you what, I'm pairing it with Pepsi Max Raspberry. I also have a bottle of Pepsi Max Cherry for when that's gone. Taste test, shall we? Tell you what, boys. Tell you what. There's no pairing better. It's basically Adam and Eve. Oh my god.
That first taste is always something else, isn't it? But then...
It's divine.
It is divine. That's a great word for it. You're going to wake up tomorrow, though, and you're either going to be in 2 camps, right? You'll be in that camp where you're totally blackout. So you'll be like, what happened to me? Where did I just lose so much time of my life? Or you're going to wake up with the full memory of everything you've done and full of regret. And both of those are a good place to be, I think, after a night of drinking. So you're only in for a good time. What about yourself, Phil? What are you drinking today?
Well, Davey, I'm glad you asked. Tonight, I am on the one and only Budweiser. Sorry, Spence, I'm taking your drink off you because you've neglected it for a number of episodes. It is now mine. So here it goes, boys. The Budweiser. Oh, yeah.
What was the advert they always used to do? It's like, what's up?
What's up?
So is that all you're drinking today, or are you going on anything harder as we move on through the show? Are these just your warm-up beers?
These are the warm-up beers, and I've had a few because one of us was a little late to the recording tonight, not pointing any fingers, definitely Spencer. But later on, obviously, we need a shot to take. So I have chosen nothing, because I'm not going to get a single question wrong. After my performance last time, I've been doing some heavy research into PlayStation's history, so I'm all clued up, ready for anything you guys have got for me in the quiz. So bring it on.
I remember this same line last time, and it turned out to be your worst performance yet. Now, for listeners to the show, the current standings of the quiz are totally evened out. So we are 1 quiz each. We've each won 1. But last time, Phil, that was a sorry showing. That was a music round that I did last time, which completely just... I think maybe you just don't listen to music. I don't really know what happened. I kind of think it's like physically impossible to do as bad as you did. But you somehow seem to not know anything.
You very much found my kryptonite during that show because I come across very knowledgeable, in the episodes. I am the fact guy, definitely, when we're going through talking about PlayStation. But yeah, you guys got me on the music round. I very much failed in that respect. So yes, over the last 10 episodes time, I've been, doing my research. So I'm ready for this quiz. So if there is a music quiz, bring it on, boys. I'm ready for it.
Well, before we get to that, we got a bit of a long road. So we're going to go through the usual run of the show. So we've got what we've been playing. We're then going to move into quick news. And then we're going to move into the topics. Then we're going to move into the big quiz. And then go on to a couple of other topics, which are in there for kind of good measure. We'll see how we kind of do with them. when we get to them. Now, guys, I'm drinking two things today. My warm-up beers of choice, I'm on a Foster's, which is the first time I've had this on the show, I think. Phil talked about it last time he introduced me to it. Some Australian beer, apparently. It turns out it's really nice, and it turns out it's just brewed here in the UK. So I've got one of those, not even Australian at all. And then bringing it back even closer to home, I got a Thatcher's Haze, so a nice Somerset lager. And those are kind of my warm-ups to get me in the mood. And then we're moving straight into even more kind of Bristol territory. We're getting some pirate juice in us, boys. We're getting some dark rum, some Captain Morgans. All I need later on, guys, when I start flagging a little bit, someone play the Pirates of the Caribbean music, because it's the only thing that's going to get me through the rest of the show. Let's move it into what we've been playing.
This time on NPS We Trust, what have the boys been playing?
Alright guys, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast episode, and I'm desperate to know what you've been up to in that time. Now normally, we'd start with Spencer, and I'd get a rundown of what he's been up to. But Phil, you've been away again before the start of this episode. So what have you been up to?
Well, mate, you're right. I've been away once again. Last episode, I was over in Munich, sampling the sausage. This time, I've been over in Dublin. Some say Dublin is the world's largest city because of the size. It keeps doubling. And it was huge when I was over there. But I had the opportunity to try some Guinness when I was over there. Had my first pint of Guinness ever. Can you believe that? I waited until I went to the Holy Land itself, Dublin, to try Guinness. Absolutely trash. I'm never having a pint of that ever again. It was horrible. I don't know how anyone likes Guinness. So I'm sorry to any of our Irish listeners or anyone who likes Guinness, but it's just not for me. You're never going to see me drinking this on the podcast.
I gotta say, this is the biggest lie that's ever been told about Guinness. Like, everyone says, they'll have your first pint of Guinness, and they'll be like, oh, drink some of that Guinness, boy. Get some of that liquid bread down you. You drink a bit, and you're like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm never drinking that again. They're like, wait till you get to Ireland. It's better in Ireland. Try it again. You don't do that with any other drink, right? You don't ever, try something, and they're like, tell you what, it's better if you go here and try it. But Guinness have got you to do a double dip for no reason whatsoever.
What about Brains when it comes to going to Cardiff? Surely the Brains is better in Cardiff.
Brains is trash everywhere. This is another one of those things that they're trying to promote as if it's something that's a real thing, and it's not. So Guinness have actually done it as successful, but I'm from Wales. I'm from down the road from Cardiff. Brains is trash everywhere you go. So don't believe that. That's a blatant lie. They're trying to get on Guinness's coattails there. It's not true. Tragic choice of beverage. Did you have a nice time though, Phil?
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was a really good trip. I went away with my brother and my dad. We sort of saw a lot of the sites, saw a lot of pubs, and sampled quite a lot of different lagers. They've got a few options out there that's not readily available over here in England, at least. One of my favourites, probably one to look out for the listeners if you are over in Ireland, is Five Lambs. That one definitely had a nice crisp taste. I'd recommend that one.
Five Lambs, all right. I'll have to check that out when I'm next over there. But are you glad now that you're back and you can just spend some time, you and that gorgeous woman of a PlayStation 5 that you got sitting under the TV?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad to be back purely, not for any other reason, but just to do my justice of playing a little bit of PlayStation for you guys, for the listeners out there, for the viewers out there. I have been playing a little bit of PlayStation over the couple of days that I've had back at home. And all my time has been spent in Horizon Forbidden West, surprise, surprise. I'm up to level 35. I've dropped now 50 hours into the game. And as we sort of touched on last episode, I'm absolutely loving it. There are a few little niggles with it, but ultimately I'm having a great time within the game. After the advice of me sort of leveling up, because I was struggling, if people remember last time, against the Tremortusk and the Thunderjaw. So what I've been doing is doing a bunch of side missions. I've been doing the tall necks, which have been crazy impressive. It's quite interesting how they've sort of worked those into the surrounding. One of the tall necks that I did over the last 2 weeks, you basically had to climb like a camp that was around the tall necks. And as you climbed to a certain point, you jumped on the tall neck. And then Aloy says, unfortunately, this tall neck's a little bit broken. We've got to climb up higher. So we had to find another way through the terrain to be able to jump off at a higher point to be able to conquer that tall neck. And I thought that was very impressive, rather than your stock standard jump on the back and climb up.
Yeah, I gotta say, they've done a really good job in this one to make every single kind of cauldron and tall neck encounter be unique from each other. They're all slightly different in how you either go about them or the kind of terrain it's set in. And I found that really kind of impactful towards my overall experience and something to really look forward to as you progress further into the game. Are you kind of feeling the same way?
Yeah, definitely. And they very much could have been, copy and paste from the original game. You go in to the cauldrons or you see the tall neck and it's just the same thing, just in a slightly different setting. But no, definitely in Horizon Forbidden West, they have sort of, as you said, worked it into the scenery, worked into the surroundings and sort of crafted a narrative around the reason why you're sort of conquering these objectives, definitely.
Yeah, you can tell that's where the team thought, you know what, we're going to flex some of our kind of creative platforming that we've got, or we're going to have some kind of creative just way for you to interact with the environment. And in both that and the cauldron areas, they both just really stand out for that. And I got to say, they've done an amazing, amazing job with that. So is it the case that all your time spending leveling, you haven't really progressed the story any further from the last time we were on the podcast?
No, I've sort of sticked away from anything, too impactful. Just doing the side sort of missions, as I've said, with the tall necks and the rebel camps. One thing to touch on when you are trying to conquer the tall necks, I do feel like Aloy jumps in a little quickly with the pointers as to what's changed or what's wrong. She tends to, drop the breadcrumb a little bit too quick for my liking. I prefer some time to kind of try and figure it out for yourself. I like a bit of a murder mystery within a game, I like trying to, solve a riddle.
Yeah, I always found Uncharted did that really well. It would be like just when you're at the point where you're like, what the hell do I do? You're like scanning the environment. Is there a climb hole here? Is there something for me to react to? Is there a rope? Is there whatever it is? And then Nathan would be like, oh, look at that over there. And the camera would come up with like a triangle. And it like zoom on to that point and you think, it was over there. And it always seemed to come at the right time. Whereas I think you're quite right. She does, she's talking all the time. And a lot of it's like, I'll put this in my stash for later. She loves saying that. Something's always going in her stash.
They actually patched that out of the game.
Have they really?
Yeah, it was one of the first patches to the game to remove the references to a stash, because obviously the connotations with taking illegal substances sort of come up quite a lot when she was referring to a stash.
Oh, do you know, that's crazy that is they patched that in, because she was always going on about a stash literally every 2 minutes. I'll put this rock in my stash alongside the other 75 rocks I've got. Oh, look at my stash, boys. She loved it. Absolutely adored it. So seeing that go is a really good thing, actually, because it did get quite grating. And I think you're right. I think they could tone it down a little bit, or maybe have it so that it's one of the options in the kind of customizable menu to have it so that maybe she doesn't go on about stuff all the time. Maybe just tone it down. And I think that would go a long way from it, because the game obviously is trying to help you. But I think you're right. Literally, you get into a moment, you like look at a jump for the first time. You think, I wonder if I can make that, or if I need to do something. She's like, I don't think I can make that jump. You think, oh, come on, Aloy. Like, sure, you probably should know you're that person. I'm just kind of controlling you. But don't give away the goose straight away,
She definitely warns you way too early, doesn't she? Going back to the jump, you'll be running up to something that, hopefully you'll be able to make. And video games have that hope element to them. You do cross your fingers when you leap from the top of, a mountain onto a tree or onto a tall neck. But Aloy very much stops you and she says, maybe I should glide, or this ledge isn't tall enough. She shuts you down pretty damn early. So yeah, you're right. I do agree. Maybe there is, a little bit of a tweak that Gorilla need to do with the pacing of her, information that she sort of, as I said, breadcrumbs you throughout the missions. But, you know, I don't want to turn her off completely because I quite enjoy listening to her story. And it's sort of, you know, as you go through all the different missions, it's nice to have her aboard.
I mean, Aloy's a fantastic character. She's one of those rare characters in PlayStation that have earned their place in kind of the pantheon. You know, you think about some of the most iconic characters we've got in PlayStation. You might always go to Kratos, right? Kratos, maybe Snake, if you want to be a bit liberal with it. And then Aloy's definitely in that conversation somewhere. Maybe out there with like Cole McGrath, you know, the Resistance people, the Chimera. I'm not really doing myself any favors here, am I? I'm like begging for a Resistance remaster every 2 episodes, and I can't remember who any of them are. You know, you got the Hellgast, you got all these different characters, you know, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet, all these people that would be great in like a PlayStation All-Stars. And she definitely deserves a placement in there because she is an iconic character. She's voiced great. She's fantastic in what she does. Her kind of attitude is just really kind of relatable, quite brash, but she doesn't come off as annoying. She just comes off as kind of confident and kind of a reluctant hero, and that's always quite a nice kind of avenue to thread as a protagonist. So yeah, I think you're right. You don't want to turn her off completely, but maybe just customize it a little bit.
Just tone it down, love. Less of this. All the time. God. Anyway, I have got a further complaint when it comes to Horizon. I'm sorry, guys. You know, I'm very much championing this game on the daily whenever I talk to, you know, friends and family and, you know, PlayStation fans alike. But the Rebel camps, not enjoying them at all. They pretty much are copy and paste. And your whole objective when you do go to a Rebel camp is to kill the leader. And the leader, as soon as you attack the Rebel camp, he pops straight out. Don't understand why. Surely it should be that you defeat quite a few of the, you know, recruits in the Rebel camp first, and then sort of gain access to the leader. But no, you take on the first, you know, guard, and then the leader, he pops straight out, and you can pretty much one shot him at my level, and then the mission is over. You know, Aloy says to you, maybe I can, you know, if I leave, all the rebels will abandon this camp, or I can stay around and kill them. So it kind of does spoil it that the leader of the camp pretty much runs straight out at you, and he's not a challenge.
I agree with you. I definitely do. There's the odd camp, though, that kind of bucks that trend, where there may be 2 or 3 segments back into the camp, and then it becomes about sneaking. And then if you've got the stealth upgrades equipped, it's really fun. Because I remember I was like, do you know what? I can't be asked to fight all these guys. I'm not enjoying the melee combat. I just really can't be bothered with it. So I'm going to sneak through the entire thing. And it's kind of a self-imposed challenge because it would have been easy just going through and just beating everyone up, you know, smashing R1 with the occasional R2. But I thought, no, I'll do it a different way. And so I snuck through the entire thing. And where he was positioned where there was 2 doorways to get into where he was in his little base. And there's 2 guards that were with him. And I thought, do you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant a trap, like a big explosive, like explosive plus trap or whatever. So it would kill like a massive machine in one. Plant one of those at each exit, and I'll throw rocks, and I'll lure the big guys out. And the AI is too dumb to realize that something's going on. So one guy would just explode into like a million pieces in front of them, and they'd be like, "Huh, what was that noise?" And that would be it. And I did that twice, kill both the guards, throw another rock. The leader comes out, I stabbed him, and it ended it. And I was like, "Joe, that was so fun." Like, even though it was dumb and the AI was really stupid when it came to kind of alerting the rest of the base, I just really enjoyed that kind of self-imposed challenge, and maybe you should try something like that on your next one. Just try and make it so that you're kind of limiting yourself rather than going in and probably doing what I would do, just mash buttons on enemies.
So what you're telling me is the rocks are key.
You want to make sure you don't run out of rocks. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the rock himself makes everything better, and I've used that strategy for my gaming life now. Every time you got access to a rock, especially when you could do a pun at the same time. You know, you put down a trap, they walk onto it and you say, "You hit rock bottom." And then boom, they just explode. It's just a good time. It's a guaranteed good time. A Davey guarantee.
And you don't get many of those, listeners. Well, I'll definitely make sure to go back to Aloy's stash and grab as many rocks as I can. But that is it for me. I have only spent time in Horizon Forbidden West these last 2 weeks. But hopefully I know I probably said this last episode, I should be getting towards the end because I do feel like I'm getting a good level now, and I should be able to take on that Tremotesk and Thunderjaw by next episode and potentially get a little bit more close to the end of the game. So fingers crossed, in 2 weeks we might have a good report. And you might be able to ask me my rating of the game, because it's kind of gone from maybe an 8 or a 9, I think, initially, down to a little bit of a 7, I think, last episode, because there were so many complaints. But I'll save it this episode. So next episode, you can ask me my final rating. Okay?
Sounds good to me. And Spencer, what about yourself? How have you been getting on these last 2 weeks?
Right, so these last 2 weeks, I've really only been playing 2 games. The one game, as everyone knows, is going to be the same game as always. It's Elden Ring. I've not put an awful lot of time into it. Maybe like 3 more hours, 5 more hours. But the boss that I was struggling with last time, I finally overcame it. All it took was a bit of time away, spending time in a different game, which I'll go on to. And then as soon as I came back to Elden Ring, blessed be, I beat it first try. Granted, I had my new broken summon and a different build, but I beat it first try. So I was quite chuffed. But since then, I've not really made an awful lot of progress. So I think I'd rather talk about the other game I've been playing, and that is Super Smash Bros. I've finally been getting back into it properly again, after winning the tournament before and then dropping it again. I've got a tournament tomorrow, day after recording, so I've kind of been grinding a little bit. I played Wi-Fi, I've had locals, I went to the weekly, and I feel quite confident. I think I might win. It depends. I think I might win. Depends how much you drink tonight.
I think ultimately, mate, it's like as if you're in the army, right? It's king and country over everything else. And your king and country right now is lager and rum or cider. That's it, right? Like, you got a choice between being a little bit sensible tonight and missing out on the fun that you can have, but you could potentially win 20 quid from your little smash mates. Or you can get drunk with the boys, provide an amazing service to our podcast listeners, and then probably lose tomorrow. But you've got an excuse. And that's the biggest thing about everything, is you've got to have a John. So they call it a John when you're having an excuse. And most of the time they don't hold up. But if you're hungover and you win, the big dick energy you will have is insane. Incalculable levels of big, throbbing, knob energy that nobody can take away from you. Literally nobody. And if you lose, everyone goes, well, Spence was hungover. He wasn't at his best. So you've always got a way out. So I think it's win-win here.
Remember, Spence, you've always got proof of what you've been up to tonight and how much you drink, because this is all on tape, mate. This isn't you just chatting with the boys. We've got the millions and millions of the MPS We Trust fans listening along and viewing along to your demise tonight when we come to the quiz.
I'll tell you what, boy. I think, honestly, I'm just going to get trashed tonight. Wake up hungover and win anyway. And that's just how it's going to go. And if I lose, I lose.
You're Humpty Dumpty, mate. You're living the Humpty Dumpty life. You are cracked from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall off that wall. All the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put you together again, because you are a Crackosaurus Rex. You're going to do it, mate. I can sense it. I can feel it deep down in my balls. You're going to do it.
We're all with you, Spence, and we do hope you do well at the Smash Brothers tournament. But this is a PlayStation podcast, so let's bring it back slightly to Elden Ring. As our viewers and listeners know, I know nothing about Elden Ring, so treat me as a dummy. And I'm sure there's people out there that, again, probably like me, are playing Horizon rather than Elden Ring. I hear a lot of people talk about summons and what summons they're using. And of course, I've seen things on Twitter where people summon certain monsters and creatures. Maybe you can just talk a little bit around the summon you're using at the moment. What kind of advantages, perks does that give you? Is it pretty much you summon and you walk away and it kills the boss for you? Because I've very much seen that in a lot of videos on Twitter. And I kind of feel like that's a little bit cheating in this game, because it's all meant to be cracked gods, you know, styling on monsters that are very difficult on their rotations. But maybe you could speak to that.
I mean, yeah, the summon I'm using is called the Mimic tier, and my build is a bleed build. I have 2 curved greatswords that both apply bleed, and what bleed is basically when you hit something, they have an invisible meter, which is their bleed meter, and the more you hit them, the more it builds up, and then when it's full, it goes and it does insane damage to the enemy. So I'm using 2 weapons, which are both adding bleed. My summon, the Mimic tier, basically is a replica of me. So that summon also has 2 curved greatswords that apply bleed. It's a bit broken. It's a little bit strong. And that's the reason I died 20 times to this boss and then suddenly was able to beat it first try.
Yeah, the Mimic tier is bust ass. And I'm not going to lie about it, it really is. Especially with your build, because with bleed, it does a guaranteed 10%. So if both you and your Mimic do that, that's a massive chunk of the boss health before you even really start wailing on it. So it puts you at a pretty good advantage. And I got to say, I was a bit annoyed, actually, because we were playing the other day together on Elden Ring, and I was kind of helping you out a little bit. My build's broken. I'll get onto my Elden Ring experience in a minute, but my build's actually broken. And me and Spence were playing, and I was kind of pushing him towards fighting this boss that took me hours to beat. This boss, he's like Lord of Blood, Mog. He's an optional boss. He's really difficult. I did it with no summons. I just went in there, fought him over and over and over again until I overcame it. And my build does good damage. Spence goes in. I thought, well, I'll watch about 3 attempts, and then I'm going to go to bed. Does it on a second time. Because he's just like, tries it first time. Oh, yeah, he bodied me. Let's pull the tier out. And literally just soloed it. It got completely demolished. And I was just like, oh, for God's sake. And sure, it's fine. There's no kind of, I'm not going to put some kind of like, big thing on this about like, oh, you shouldn't use summons or whatever. So I've definitely been guilty of that with a boss that I'll come on to when I talk about this game. But I was annoyed by that, Spence, because I wanted you to struggle like I had. And I think that's where it is. I want my struggle to be a universal struggle for you.
I've got a quick question before we round out and move on to yourself, Davey. And I'll ask you the same question once you've finished talking about Elden Ring in your section. But Spence, I'm new to Elden Ring. You've convinced me to buy the game. What build would you advise me to go for? Do I go down the same track as you because you are finding it relatively easy now with the summons and the bleed build? Or retrospectively, would you have gone down a different path?
I bought this game with the intention of going bleed build. I knew exactly what kind of build I was going to go. I think if I replayed the game, or if I had a chance to change it, I probably would have gone full strength, similar to what Davey's done. Either that, or because my next playthrough would be obviously just a for fun playthrough, I might just go for the cheese magic build. Magic is by far the easiest way to play this game. If you're struggling with this game, magic can one-shot bosses. You don't even have to engage with the boss. So if you're struggling, that is easily the best way to go about it.
But the thing about it is, right, I saw this thing where this guy, he said, what was I even there for? That was the name of the YouTube video. And it had like millions of views. And it was this guy fighting one of the final bosses, a really difficult boss. I think it was actually the Lord of Blood, the one we spoke about earlier. And he walks through the boss fog, and he hits the boss. He tries to hit the boss. He runs up, and all you see is this Kamehameha wave just flow down from this magic user that he summoned in, and it one-shots the boss, kills it in one go. And the guy literally, you see him trying to run to catch up to the boss so he can lay one hit on it. So he feels like he's done something. And it's the funniest thing ever. He's like trying to run after it. And this guy literally just one-shots the entire boss with this one blast. It's so funny. And yes, magic builds are broken. They got weaknesses too. I'm not gonna sit there and say that it's completely easy for them. They got different weaknesses. But yeah, it's easy mode.
Thanks for clearing that up, guys. I'll ask you the question once you've sort of told me what you've been up to, Davey, in Elden Ring.
But yeah, that's basically it for my kind of session with Elden Ring. I've not played it an awful lot, but Davey, mate, I know you've been playing it a lot more than I have these past 2 weeks. So, mate, fill us in. Tell me about your progress. How's it been?
So, last time we recorded the show, I was at 40 hours. I'm now at 75 hours, and I've completed Elden Ring. It is done. I am about an hour and a half away from the platinum. So this is probably my last time talking about Elden Ring on the podcast, unless I'm answering to something that you guys raise. But yes, I am done with it. And I want to tell you about an experience I had that really shaped my overall opinion on this game. So there's an optional boss on this game. I'm not going to go into the name of the boss, just in case it gives anyone a spoiler. I went into this boss fight at level 110. End game. I could have gone on to do the rest of the game. And I thought, no, I found this area. I'm going to fight this boss. She's got this move, right, where she floats up in the air and she just goes Ultra Instinct, goes into Dragon Ball Z mode, and there's blades everywhere. She's slashing everything in front of her. And I must have died to that move, literally no joke, I'm not even exaggerating now, 75 times. I must have tried that boss at least 75 times, over and over and over again. Bearing in mind, I'm at level 50 strength, I've got massive armor on, I got 2 great swords, and I was pretty much killing every boss up until that point in about 4 or 5 hits. Did nothing to her. Couldn't even remotely get down half her health bar. Because every single hit she lands on you, she recovers health. My build is all built on trading hits with bosses because I hit harder than them. So she completely destroyed my strategy. And at that point, I thought, right, well, I got 2 options. I can either just hit my head against the wall, or I can go and train. And just like a great Dragon Ball Z moment of going into the hyperbolic time chamber, I went on an adventure to upskill myself. It took a further 10 hours of play for me changing my build to the point where I could get 2 extra buffs onto my character, change my weapons entirely, and incorporate a mimic tier into my build to remotely stand a chance. And even with that, she still whooped my ass for 2 nights back to back before I finally beat her. And the only reason I beat her is because RNG was on my side and she didn't do that move in the phase where she does it. And that was the only reason. I know that for a fact. I've gone in and tried to co-op with other people to help them, and my character is busted. I'm hitting for 4,000 damage per hit. A normal hit does about 1,000. I hit for 4. My character is broken. Absolutely broken my build. She will absolutely destroy me. Even now on co-op with people. I was lucky. And my God, that was the hardest boss I've ever fought in my entire life. The hardest Souls boss ever, without a question of a doubt. It was insane. And it was amazing. And the feeling I had when I beat her was incalculable. Now, the problem with this is that after I beat her, because I was so over-leveled, I then ran through the remainder of the game without a single death. So I beat the final boss, I beat all the bosses before that, completely cakewalking them. Because they were nothing to me at that point. I was level 162, I think, after beating her. And everything else was fine. Because she's by far the hardest boss. But I gotta say, after 75 hours with this game, experiencing the ending, and now just about wrapping up the Platinum Trophy, this is the best game on PlayStation 5. Hands down. It's a 10 out of 10. A perfect experience. I honestly don't think anything is going to beat this year. If anything even remotely comes close to this, it will be a miracle. We'll be in the best year of gaming probably ever known. Because this is one of the best games I've ever experienced in my life. It's sensational. The locations are amazing. The soundtrack from the start right up until the end is amazing. The boss design is incredible. The amount of builds that you can have and you can tailor to your specific skill set are crazy. And you can make it really as challenging as you want to. Like Spence is relying on summons. There's something there for you if you want to do that. I typically don't do that. But that's up to the individual, and there's no problem with that. The game's fantastic. It's actually incredible. And I want to say a big shout out to, listen to the show, Willard who, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I ever would have learned how to properly adapt to the boss fight that I died to so many times, because it was a challenge that kind of seemed insurmountable to me, and without him I probably wouldn't be able to do it. So thank you ever so much, Willard. I really appreciate you. And guys, if you're on that boss fight, you want to help, just reach out to me. Let me know. I'll come in there with my bust ass giant crushers and we'll do us some damage. What do you think of my rating there in terms of this being the best game on PlayStation 5?
I'll say, whilst you were playing Horizon the entire time, you're kind of like, I don't really feel like the need to play Elden Ring. I'm not excited about it. It's just there. I don't really care about it too much. I'll get to it when I get to it. But I knew, the second you started playing Elden Ring, you'd be like, oh, fuck, this is the game. Elden Ring, so far for me, it's a 9 out of 10. I think it's better than Returnal, by far. It's a lot better than Returnal. Returnal's fantastic as well, so that's just giving praise to Elden Ring. That's not diminishing Returnal at all. But I completely understand what you mean. Elden Ring is phenomenal. Every area is so varied. All the builds so varied. The shit you can do just in the world. Upgrading your horse. It's endless. You can do whatever you want. It's the closest thing to a perfect game, in my opinion. So I completely understand what you mean. I see where you're coming from, and you've just made me a whole lot more excited to beat the game.
Yeah, I'll look forward to hearing what you got to say in the next 2 weeks. But that's enough about what we've been playing. Guys, let's move it on to the news. Quick news. It's time for quick news, boys. And as we started it last time, it's time for us to go around and make our own noises. Last time we did guns. This time we're doing animal noises. So Phil, I'm coming to you first. Give me the sound of a chicken.
Cluck, cluck, cluck. Quick news. Regular viewers to the show will know I've been missing attending video game shows. Well, I've got some news for you. E3 has been officially cancelled. But not to fear, Summer Games Fest is happening in June, so at least we got something, eh? Spencer, a lion goes...
The PlayStation Plus games for April this month are Hood, Outlaws and Legends for the PS5, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated for the PS4, and Slay the Spire on PS4 as well. Davey, give me your best. Armadillo.
Armadillo. Quick news. PlayStation Studio Firesprite, which were only recently acquired, is working on a AAA narrative-driven horror adventure game in Unreal 5. Now, this has been discovered after a job posting. Now, this was the job posting itself. It said, we are looking for a narrative director to join our development team for a AAA narrative-driven horror adventure game in Unreal 5. Crazy, right? Absolutely insane. Now, for me, the reason why this gets me so excited is because we don't have this from the first party. Horror games are really only left up to Capcom and Konami whenever they feel like it. So if we can get our own game in there, could it be Siren? Could it be something else that they're working with different parties? Or could it be its own unique thing? We've got time to wait because, as this job listing says, we got a long time until we actually see something from Firesprite. Now, Phil, give me your best crocodile.
Quick news. Lost Planet and Steel Battalion creator Capcom is raising its employees' base salary by 30%, guys. A new bonus system more closely tied to the company's business performance will be introduced in Japan. The publisher is reported its fiscal 2021 results in May, when it's expected to announce a 9th consecutive year of operating income growth and its 5th consecutive year of record profits. Make that bank, boy! Spencer, a seal goes.
Sony is supposedly working on PS3 emulation for the PS5. Spartacus will provide stream-only versions of PS3 games. So this could be the solution that PS Now subscribers has long since sought after. Davey, mate, for you, I want to hear your best dolphin noise.
Quick news. DC Douglas has announced that he's departing from the role of Albert Wesker. DC Douglas has voiced Wesker for a hell of a long time, one of the longest serving voice actors, especially in that universe, that I will not name, for obvious reasons. Could this be because of the fact that he leaked a lot of NDA material, leaking out concept art? Or could it be the fact that he's using his status to pimp out on fans and be a bit of a sex pest? Which I think is actually more likely the case. The fan base have been rioting against DC Douglas for a little while now. So I think this is probably Capcom trying to distance itself from him before allegations turn into convictions or court cases. But that's just hearsay. We'll have to wait to see if anything progresses from here. Now, Phil, I want to hear your best puppy noise.
Quick news. Remedy Entertainment are not making a Doctor Strange game. I repeat, Remedy Entertainment are not making a Doctor Strange game. But I'll tell you what Remedy Entertainment are doing. They have entered into an agreement with Rockstar Games to work on Max Payne. Let's hope the collector's edition includes more sand for my hourglass. Spencer, a giraffe goes.
Jesus!
And I just went with it, bro.
Jesus! I've heard women on a Newport night out do that noise, but I've never heard a giraffe make that noise. I'd go something like this. I imagine most animals go for that kind of aesthetic as a default, but I could be wrong.
PlayStation have clean sweeped the BAFTA awards. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart won both the Best Animation and Best Technical Achievement awards, and Returnal came through. Returnal won 3 awards. They won the Best Audio, the Best Game, and the Best Music. PlayStation demolished the BAFTAs.
Well done, Returnal. Of course, the previous best game on PlayStation 5 until Elden Ring came along. Now, I think, guys, on that note, it's time for us to rate our animal noises and see who deserves a shot for their poor performance. Now, I want to come out straight away with my vote here. Phil, what was your second animal noise I gave you?
You tried to play the game a little bit with a crocodile sound, right? I'm not sure if I've heard much sound from a crocodile other than them biting something. So I gave you a snap, I gave you a little bit of a chomp sound to it, and then a swallow as if I was eating something. Because that's what they're known for, definitely. You know, their big jaws, the clamping sound, and them demolishing their prey. So that's what I went for.
I like the kinetic movement of the crocodile slamming it down. But see, this is a common misconception with crocodile noises, because a crocodile is all about the death roll, right? It's all about getting that death roll in to kind of drown their prey. It's not the bite that kills, it's the drowning. But a crocodile is a hiss. It's like... That's what crocodiles do. And then, maybe if I'd seen a bit of this, you know, a little peak above the water, maybe I would have gone for it. But personally, it didn't vibe with me, that one. That's my vote.
So that's your worst. What's your best?
My best. I liked your puppy. I thought your puppy was a good one. I'm not gonna lie. I really liked your puppy. So you've kind of got the worst, but you got a good one there as well.
Cute, wasn't it? Well, coming to me, I think the best and the worst came in the same impression, and that was the giraffe. There was a lot of stumbling about when it came to the sound of the giraffe from Mr. Spencer. But Davey, you cracked it on the head. That giraffe sound. Can we hear it again? Wow. Okay, so that hasn't changed my opinion. Spencer, you're still the worst impression in my opinion. And Davey, I still love your giraffe. You know, it's spot on for me.
What about yourself, Spence? Where are you falling down on this? Who's the worst and who's done the best?
The dolphin noise, Davey. The dolphin noise was good. I was very impressed with the dolphin.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. I worked hard on that one.
You're very welcome, mate. I do think the worst noise was probably Phil's crocodile.
So really, we're getting to a bit of an impasse here, where it's Phil's got the worst one in his crocodile, but then we've also got. Actually, no, that's a 2-1. Phil, unfortunately, your crocodile there has sealed your fate. Can I see a shot from you, and then we'll move it on to the big quiz?
Okay, guys, I've got the Jaeger bomb here. So as I down it, I want to hear those giraffe sounds to salute me in my first shot of tonight.
3, 2, 1.
Disgusting.
Lovely. Let's move it on to the big quiz. So we are here. We've arrived at the topics, and the first topic we're doing today is, of course, the big quiz. Boys, it's a blowout. Every 10 episodes, we do a big quiz. 5 questions each. Each question we get wrong deserves a shot. We get trashed, and then we try and get through the rest of the show afterwards. Always what we do every 10 episodes. Always a great time.
We are having a hashtag blowout, guys. So make sure, listeners, put that in your tweets, put that in your Instagrams, put that in your TikToks. Hashtag blowout.
Wish someone would blow me out. All right, yeah. Let's carry on.
So, guys, if you haven't seen this before, the way we do it, we each responsible for our own quiz. It has its own rules. It has its own agenda. And there's always spats that happen every single time because people say, "Oh, Davey, your quiz is too hard. Davey doesn't have multiple choice. Davey, I don't listen to video game music." Whatever the issue is. The way we start this off is getting Spencer to ask Siri which number we should pick between 1 and 3. Now, of course, I'm always number 1. Phil, you're number 2. Spencer, you're number 3. Do you want to do the honors and see what Siri decides who goes first?
I would be glad to, mate. Hey, Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 3.
A random number between 1 and 3 is 3.
So, Spencer, you are starting off the big quiz this time. And of course, after your quiz ends, you can then pick who you want to go second. That is the joy of whoever goes first.
All right, boys. So, it's time for Spencer's quiz. Who's ready? Can I hear some noise? Can I hear some cheer? Are we prepared?
Woo! I can't wait. I can't wait, boys. I ain't getting a single thing wrong. This is my time to lead again as being a 2-time winner of the quiz. 2-time.
The crocodiles are ready, boys. Let's bring it on, Spence. Let's go. I've got them on my side.
Thought you were jacking off, mate.
And me.
So, Phil, you're starting my quiz, and my first question to you is as follows. What year were Guerrilla Games, the creator of Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn, founded? No multiple choice.
And there's no clues. There's no phone a friend.
No phone a friend, no clues.
There's no help here.
Yep.
I've just got to say...
Closest wins, but you get to go first.
Okay. This music's really building the tension, isn't it? It's putting the pressure on me, right? We don't have a little stop clock for how long I can take. I think potentially we're gonna go earlier than maybe what you think I would have chosen, because the games you've said are quite late on.
Sure.
Sort of PS4, PS5 games. So I'm potentially going to go a little earlier than that. Because of course the founded date would be way before they've released a game.
Sure.
I'm going to stick with, and this is my final answer, Spencer,
Okay.
the year 2000.
Wow. Okay, Davey. You all get to guess. What is your answer for this question?
2000 is a great date. I gotta think, right? Killzone came out in the PS2 generation. PS2 launched in 2000, I think. Maybe 2001. I think it was 2000. Killzone came out quite late in that generation. I'm gonna guess 2002.
Right, boys. Well, we have a winner. And it's Philip Hoy guessing the exact year that they were founded.
Get in! Let's go!
Jesus Christ. Well done, Phil. Well done, mate.
Yeah. Take that shot, bro.
I will.
That's from me to you.
Thank you very much, Phil. I really enjoy that. And you're staying true to your word here that you weren't going to get a single thing wrong. So this is double shot measure for those that have eagle eyes. So I'm doing half of that, which is a single shot, maybe a little bit over of tequila. Let's get it down, boys. Oh, it tastes like regret. Oh, baby. Bring it on, Spence.
Davey, mate, the next question is for you. When was the first ever documented use of the phrase out the wazoo? No multiple choice.
What? What the fuck? The first documented time out the wazoo.
I thought it'd be, applicable to the podcast.
Okay. I reckon
Closest wins.
1962.
Wow. Okay, Phil, you get to go next.
You said the first documented occurrence of up the wazoo. Do we mean on the podcast? Because I'm pretty sure that was this year.
No, it's in history.
In history,
outside of us. Yes.
So you're saying where potentially I would have heard it from, and that's why I've repeated it on the podcast.
Saying what originated the phrase.
And what year did Davey go for?
He said 1962.
I'm thinking he's gone way too far back. But it's pretty easy for me just to go 1963. But I'll give Davey a chance. I'm gonna give him 10 years. I'll go 1973.
Okay, well, I will say we have a winner. And it's Davey. He was 1 year off.
Oh my!
He didn't go far enough back. It was 1961.
Let's go. Phil, enjoy that shot, my mate. Enjoy that shot. I had already, just because I was worried, got another one prepped. Just in case. I'm so happy with myself.
I can't believe you got that close. I cannot believe you got that close.
Do we have any background on where that came from then, Spence?
The first use of out or up the wazoo was in 1961 from the University of California, a Berkeley publication. It says not quite what we searched, but in a certain slang. It says run it up your old wazoo. And that is the first use. Its second citation is from a publication not known for its use of slang, the Wall Street Journal in 1971. Golf itself is quite safe. The greatest risk being the possibility... Oh, wow, this cuts off. It's fuck reading that. Pointless. But the first use was 1961, and Davey said 1962. That is impressive in my books.
Well done,
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
So, are we ready for the next question, my friends? Phil, this next question is aimed at you. And it states, Phil, what year did we first meet in person?
What, me and you?
You and I.
The first meeting, the legendary first meeting of Phil and Spencer.
Yep.
Trying to think where that could have been. I'm assuming it's somewhere connected to Smash Brothers. And obviously connected to Davey. Unless you've somehow walked into Waitrose when I used to work on the cigarette counter. Or even earlier when I used to work, serving the meat in Summerfield. Potentially. I don't think it's that long, mate. I don't think we've known each other that long. I think if this question was about me and Davey, I would really, really struggle. But I would know that was around Smash Brothers Brawl time, because I think that was the reason we sort of met each other originally anyway.
2008 Brawl came out, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that early. I'm probably going to go... So what are we now? 2022, aren't we?
2022. When did
and I've known you this year.
You and I, first
and I think you've been to like 3 of my birthdays, or 2 of my birthdays. I'm trying to think now. I'm going to go 2018.
Okay. Davey, although it's a question clearly aimed at Phil, you also get to guess.
I would have guessed 2018 as well. but as per the rules of the quiz, you cannot guess what somebody else has guessed. So I'm going to go 2017. It would have been at a Birmingham tournament, I imagine, because that would have been a reason to get you involved, Phil, where I was trying to push you towards the Smash scene at the time. And Spence would have been a friend, not quite the friend he is now to me, but he would have been a close friend, but not to the extent that he is now. I'd say 2017.
Well, we have a winner. Phil's bang on, it's 2018. And I will say, it's not a Birmingham night out. Phil came to Cardiff. And I have a picture of him and I in metros together.
Oh.
And that was the first time we ever
I thought
met.
it would be 2018. 2018 sounds about right. That sounds about right, especially for your age, Spence. Like, you wouldn't have been out with me when you were 17. You would have been 18. You know, we would have been, like, getting on it. So, it sounds about right. I'll take a shot for that. I would have guessed that too, Phil. So, well done. Well done.
Davey looks horrendous. He's had a horrible time.
Brilliant.
That was a
That's
bad
the best
shot.
type of photos, isn't it?
It was a bad shot. It was one of those shots where I accidentally poured it into my normal glass full of rum and coke, and then realized my mistake, and then poured it back into the shot glass. So it's like a little remnant of rum alongside tequila. It's not a good time. And the last time I did this quiz, I was organized, and I had limes and I had salt. It was a lovely time. This time I haven't done that. So it's just straight up tequila, and I should have used my YouTube money and bought Patron or something, and I didn't. And so it's
£12.
it's not a great tequila. It's not a great. It's like paint stripper. It ain't great. It ain't great. Bring it on for question 3, Spence. I'm feeling good about this one.
Okay, Davey, mate, the next question is directed at you, and it is as follows. Davey, what year did we first meet in person? Closest wins? No multiple choice. You should have a rough idea.
Now, the problem is, you were playing Smash 4, the same as I was. And I don't want to sound like a dick here, but when we started that game, you were fodder to me. Yeah,
was
you were
nothing.
fodder.
I was nothing.
So I wouldn't remember you from when we first met, because you wouldn't even remotely be memorable to me. Which sounds really dickish to me. But Spence, you know what I'm on about, don't you? There's certain
I know exactly what you mean, bro. I meet O2ers and
they don't stick out, do they? And it's not our friendship started forming when you started competing with me, and that's when our friendship really started forming. And it's kind of blossomed from there, and it's just gone on and on and on. So I'm gonna guess 2015.
Okay, he's given his answer. Phil, you also get to guess. What would your choice be?
Right, so I'm just trying to think back now. When did your name start coming up in conversation when me and Davey were at the gym? When Davey would be like, you should come to these Smash tournaments. I've got this great friend Spencer. Shocking at the game, you get a free win.
Well, you couldn't beat me after a while, so...
Yeah, I got bodied after a while. After a while.
There was like a switch that clicked. I lost all the time, then a second I won, I
It was
never lost
terrible.
again.
It was a bad time in my life, actually. I don't look back on that in a positive light. It was a bad time for me personally.
So you've gone 2015.
You did.
And I met you in 2018. It's only 3 years to build up that friendship, and I feel like you boys are pretty much, you know, you're pretty close. It's a bond you share. I kind of want to go earlier, because I think you guys are tight, and I think you would have built that up over a number of years. I don't think it's as quick as Davey's on about now. 2015. I think he's very close, so that's why I'm going to go 2014.
Okay, you both have submitted your answers, and there's clearly a winner. Davey, it is 2015.
Let's go, Spence. 7 years I've known you for. Can you believe it? Oh
7
my
years.
god. You're getting old, mate. You're getting old. Enjoy that shot though, Phil. I really hope that one tastes gorgeous. What are you shotting, by the way?
I'm on the Jägermeister tonight with the absolute dawn of a real Red Bull.
Oh my God, you got a real Red Bull.
It's real Jägermeister, but it's real Red Bull. And that's the big selling point of tonight. That's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for in the taste.
You've really upped the ante from that, just having, because, if you have a bit of pussy or any of the other knockoff energy drinks that you can have, you had that stuff from...
Davey,
I know it, yeah, but I was frozen.
Davey,
when you
I've
said
had
it.
pussy.
Yeah, I know. It's not good, is it? I remember when you were like 20...
I can't stop drinking it, bro.
When you were 23 and you bought a crate of pussy and you took it to a Fivers Inn and you were like, boys, we're drinking pussy tonight. And I remember we all had a laugh and then we tried it and we were all tragically disappointed. So I'm glad you've gone for an actual classic Red Bull, because I was in Home Bargains. Sorry to derail the big quiz. I was in Home Bargains, and what I noticed, other than the fact they sell pussy, is that every person in there has a limp. Have you noticed that in Home Bargains? Literally every person there is limping about. It's weird.
It's because they can't make it all the way to Asda, bro.
Maybe.
Guys, the real reason why a lot of people limp in Home Bargains is what they've done. They've stacked pussy on top of pussy on top of pussy and then shoved that down their trousers, and they're walking out with a stiff leg. They're not really disabled in any way. They're just trying to get away with the cheap pussy.
Aren't we all? I can relate to that. Aren't we all? On that note, let's move it back on to your next question, Spence.
I will say, before we move on, the best way to have known that answer was that Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Wii U came out on 13th of September 2014. I didn't start competing until about 5 months after.
I am pretty glad both of us got the right answers right.
Yeah, I'm also very glad
Shows how
about
much
that.
you mean to us, Spence. Because if both of us had just got it wildly wrong, I think that was your point, just to think, do you know what? I'm binning this podcast off. These boys are...
All right, so are we moving on?
This is the decider, Davey. Head to head.
It's 2-2. Phil, the next question is for you. And the question is as follows. How old is Joel in The Last of Us Part 2? That's it. No multiple choice. Closest wins. It's the only thing that's not a date. The only question.
So you want an age in years or an age in months? Because I know a lot of people
Years,
sometimes
bro,
count
hello?
it in months. Is it an 18-month kind of situation, or
No.
do you want a number of years? Just so we're on the same
Years.
page.
The Last of Us Wikipedia doesn't tell us his exact date of birth. So it's kind of a guesstimate at best.
I know what
really.
you boys are like. You always try and screw me over on these big quizzes. And I'll be like, oh, he's like 43. And then you boys are like, no. He's 7,864 days, I don't know, months or weeks or whatever it is, right? Just to get around it.
I will say, as a hint,
Okay.
they don't know the exact age. There's 2 possible answers because it's one or the other.
Well, I'm 37.
Good one.
I am. And I would probably, I'd put Joel, I pitched Joel older than me. Oh wait, so whoa. Last of Us 1 or Last of Us 2? 2.
Last of Us 2.
Definitely older than me.
The extra hint is that Last of Us 2 is 5 years after Last of Us 1.
Doesn't really help me, I'm not going to lie.
No, I didn't think it would. That's why I gave it.
I'm just going to stick with my initial gut feeling and go 43.
43. Okay, Phil has guessed, and he guessed 43. Davey, you also get to guess. What is your choice?
So I'm going to think about it logically a little bit here. So the Joel, when the start of Last of Us 1 starts, his daughter's about 12. And he looks in his 40s at that point.
I know exactly how old he is during that prequel scene.
Great. I don't. So I imagine he's in his 40s there. I'd say about 43. And his daughter's about 12. 5 years on. And then Last of Us 1, I think, starts about 10 years later or 12 years later. So that would take him up to about 52, maybe. I'm going to go 59. going to go 59. 59.
59.
Yeah,
Okay,
locking in.
you locking in?
Locking in 50. What do you guess, Phil?
I would take his first answer, Spence.
Yeah, you gave your
All right,
first answer, so
59,
I'll take
50,
Davey's first answer.
59.
You said 43. Davey said 59. Well, with those answers being given, we have our winner. And not only the winner of the question, the winner of my quiz. And the winner is... It's Davey. Joel is 53 or 54. They're not entirely sure. It's one of those 2 years.
Way older than I thought then, yeah. No.
So, boys, we have reached the conclusion of my quiz. Davey has come out on top, scoring 3 points. Phil trailing close behind with 2 points, but not a small feat. Now, who do I want to go next? I know Davey's planned something big. So it's just, am I thinking, would I like to do Davey's now or save it for last? Phil, I think I'll start with you. What does your quiz entail? Fill us in.
Okay, I'm glad you've picked me, Spencer, because I know Davey's got something awesome planned. Unfortunately, it didn't all plan out, but I'm sure we'll leave that to Davey to explain when we get to his section. For me, I've got 5 questions for you, all with varying amounts of difficulty and complexity. There is definitely some arcs back to the past for our old school listeners and old school viewers, so watch out for those. Initially, we're gonna start with a trophy watch question for you guys, okay? So I've got a question. It's multiple choice. I'm gonna come to Spencer first because you want some points on the board. So I'm gonna give you the first option. You could actually bring it back. I'm gonna put it out to you, and you can play or pass. So my first question is called Trophy Watch, and it goes like this. In the game Dark Souls 2, players will be welcomed to Dark Souls 2 with an achievement trophy gained after encountering the death screen for the first time. What is this trophy called? So there's 4 answers for you, okay? So Spence, you're first. So is it A, the end of fire? Is it B,
No.
you're dead? Is it C, this is Dark Souls? Or is it D, and you thought you were good at games, well you're not, and you're going to struggle with this game until you don't. Then you can tell your friends that you're good at games. A, B, C or D? Spencer, the floor is open.
Right, well, it ain't D. Because I don't think... You know how Twitter used to have a cap on how many words you could put in? I'm fairly sure trophy captions wouldn't allow that. It wasn't A either. I knew it wasn't A. I think B was something along the lines of Welcome to Dark Souls, right? Or This is Dark Souls.
No. B is you're dead.
Oh, B is You're Dead, C is This is Dark Souls. I'm gonna guess You're Dead, B. That's my final guess.
Okay, Spencer's locked in with You're Dead. So Davey, you have the options of A, C and D. So A, the end of fire. C, this is Dark Souls. D, and you thought you were good at games. Well, you're not, and you're now going to struggle with this game until you don't. Then you can tell your friends that you're good at games.
It doesn't stop, does it? I'll go for option C, please, Phil. I'm fairly certain now. I don't want to do that thing that they do on quiz shows where they're like, I'm 100% sure it's this because I've earned this, and I'm 100% sure it is. But I am actually.
It sounds like freaking
I know.
answer D. Bro.
I'm 100% sure it's option C.
And you are correct. It is option C. In the game Dark Souls 2, when you die for the first time, you are rewarded with a bronze trophy. And the trophy is called This is Dark Souls. Can you believe it, guys? A trophy for dying. Mental.
Yeah, that's in a lot of games, to be fair.
Absolutely
I thought
mental.
it wouldn't be This is Dark Souls. I thought it'd be Welcome to Dark Souls. So when you said This is Dark Souls, I thought, fuck.
But this is the thing about Dark Souls 2 is that it was really annoying in that it expected you to die. And the thing is, it didn't expect you to die in like a normal way. It would fuck you over. And so
give you a door that led into a pit.
Yeah,
that would just kill
exactly.
you.
And so that's what Dark Souls 2 MO is. Like, as soon as you start that game, I think the woman says, "You're going to die." Like, the first person.
No, it's the Resident Evil movie, mate.
What movie,
You're
mate?
all going to die down here.
Oh my god, he pressed the
He
button.
has done it. How many episodes is that, Spence?
Oh, it's been a long
It's been
time,
a hot
man.
minute.
Even like 2 episodes ago, I think you boys hit the button, and I decided I'm better than that. I'm not going to. And this time, you boys did it intentionally. I've actually blundered.
And do you know what this
my
means?
God.
That's
I gotta
douche
take 2
shots
shots.
for you, bro. Let's double up.
Oh, okay. I'm fuming. I was right though.
Yeah,
You're all going to die down
the
here.
problem is, though, it's a tragic movie, isn't it? It's just a terrible movie. Like, the first movie's good, actually, to be fair. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and slander the first movie. The first movie isn't great, but it's not bad, especially when you compare it to Welcome to Raccoon City, which is just something.
Oh, that phenomenal.
Oh my god, something so bad.
No, we know. I say phenomenal. It was terrible, but I liked it
It
because
was
it was
bad.
terrible.
We all went to see it in the cinema, and it was so bad that we couldn't even spend a podcast episode to discuss it. That's how bad it was, is that we couldn't do it.
Oh, I wish I bought ciders or something
Right,
now.
the button is armed, guys, so we cannot say the game that cannot be mentioned, otherwise there will be an additional shot. Okay, we are on to question 2, and the name of question 2 is called How Many? Okay, guys, you better get ready to get up off your seats, because after I finish this sentence, you have 15 seconds to go and grab the most video game handsets. Go! Right, let's call it, Davey. Do you want to shout them out, number them, and give us a brief explanation of what handsets they are, please?
So I can barely hear you because I don't have my headset on because I've been too rushing, but I got the PlayStation 1,
1,
a PlayStation 3,
2,
a GameCube controller,
3,
PlayStation 4,
4,
PlayStation 5,
5. Love the way you've
a
numbered these.
PlayStation Move,
I'm counting that. 6,
and a
My rule.
PlayStation 2.
7. 7 handsets for Davey.
7
Spencer,
handsets for me.
can you beat 7?
I will certainly try my best. So, starting, I have a 360 wired controller, which I use for PC.
Don't know if we can count that, bro.
I
1.
definitely can. 1. I have my Nintendo Switch Power A Pro
2.
controller. Look at that Zelda she's playing. I also, actually she's like 12, never mind, she's disgusting. I also have my red DualSense.
I'm tempted to give double points on that. It's a sexy handset. We'll go
sexy
3. We'll go
handset,
3.
bro.
I don't want to do you straight, Davey.
I have my Cloud Strife GameCube
Whoa.
controller. I have a white wired PS3 analogued white buttoned
It's
GameCube
the same
controller.
thing. He said two
Irrelevant.
controllers, didn't he? Did he say different?
You didn't say they have to be
I
on
just said
different
video game
platforms.
controllers.
Oh my
5.
god. Oh my god. I fucked myself over.
I have another GameCube
6.
controller. Oh, I didn't grab my custom one. I have another GameCube controller that I didn't grab. I have a Smash Ultimate GameCube controller. I have my white DualSense.
7.
And I have my Nintendo Switch
You're a
Joy-Con.
dick.
8.
You're a dickhead. You're
8. Davey, unfortunately, you have got to take that shot
That's
because
fine.
you have lost. Question 2. How many?
That was fantastic.
I
really
enjoyed that question. I didn't realize I thought it had to be different generations, so I went out of my way to pick different generations rather than just grabbing everything I had in my drawers. So that's on me, and I accept that.
Okay, guys. Congratulations, Spencer. You have more handsets than Davey in the allotted time. We're moving on to question 3, and the title of question 3 is What's in the box? So give me 2 seconds. I will go and get my prop. What's in the box?
Whatever could be inside.
So as you can see, I've sellotaped it shut, so there has been no tampering during the proceedings of this recording of the podcast. So we're going to go back and forth. We're going to shuttlecock this in the sense that we're going to have 3 yes/no questions about what's in the box, okay? So you can ask me a question, start with Davey, and all I can say is yes or no. And you have 3. So we're going to go Davey, Spencer, Davey, Spencer, Davey, Spencer. And I'll say yes or no. And then I'll ask for your answer. And I'm going to say the closest one wins because I don't want to completely screw you both over. Davey, what's your first question?
Phil, does the item inside your box resemble a gender?
No.
Phil, does your item in any way represent video games?
Yes.
Is your item a robot?
No.
Bruv, you're asking terrible questions. Is your item from a franchise that is beloved by you?
Yes.
Bruv, Davey's questions are shit.
I know
you
it's
what
not
I'm
male
saying?
or female, whatever it is. I know it's not a robot. So that means I eliminate Gundams. I eliminate any male or female character. Yes, I don't know. You could have put one of your Gundam. I wouldn't recognize if one of them were missing, Phil. Franchise beloved by you. Does this franchise have anything to do with viruses?
I'm going to say no, but you might bring me up on the lore once I reveal it.
If you're mentioning Fox Die, then I'm fuming. Because obviously that was clearly a hint towards the game we can't mention, which I almost mentioned. Again.
This is your last question. Last yes, no. And I've given you a little extra on that one.
It can't be that game. It can't be that game. So it's either one of, I would say, 2 franchises, I'd like to think. But maybe
I would
more.
say don't focus on that answer too
'cause that was
closely
a
because
shit
that's not
question.
the main focus of
the item.
the item that I beloved. Or the series that I beloved.
Okay. Is your item related to music in any way?
No.
Is it my turn to answer first on this?
I don't feel like you're even close. Okay. Well, if neither of you get this, you're both going to need to take a shot. If you're both wildly away from this, I feel like I've been pretty spot on with my yes/no answers, and I've given you a little extra, but try not to focus on that too much. It's more to do with the lore and probably my knowledge of the franchise. Even though it's beloved, I think possibly you could have touched on something, but we'll see once it's revealed.
Is it my turn to guess first, Phil?
Yes.
I reckon it's a Portal 2 gun.
I wouldn't
The
have
box
guessed
isn't that big.
that. Okay, I have to guess the exact
I'm
item.
going to say closest wins, and I might give you 2 guesses each if yours is wildly off, because I don't think we're even close just yet.
The issue is Davey's gender question actually kind of comes
Well,
into use.
Davey asked me, was there a
because-
robot in there? And then he asked me, is it to do with portals?
No,
they're robots.
No, I asked you if they...
No, but the robot gun is separate.
It would have been
from a
very
robot.
close, and I probably would have given it him.
I asked you if there was a gender associated, so I know it's not human, like a male, female,
Yeah,
like typical
well,
male,
Peabody
female.
and Atlas were male.
No,
But I also
but
asked you if there was a robot.
We both know that you own the Death Stranding baby.
Yep, it's not that.
And I know it can't possibly be any of the characters from the game that can't be mentioned because they're predominantly male or female. So I'm eliminating quite a lot with the gender question. And that's why I then asked if there's a robot, because then it eliminates Gundams.
Is in the box. Is it a Blanca Hot Wheels?
No.
Well, that's devastating because it was on your shelf and it's not anymore, and I gave that to you, so I'm heartbroken.
As you both are so far away from where this item lives, I'm going to give you 1 more question each, and then I'll take your final answer. Davey, 1 final question. Yes, no. I won't give you any more.
Is this anything to do with the Street Fighter franchise?
No.
Fuck, this is so hard, bro. This is solid, man. What a fantastic question.
Do you want to see the size of the box again?
No, I understand the size of the box. I know it can't be anything too big, anything too small. The portal gun's too long to be in there. But it depends how well fitted the item is into the box. Does it barely fit? Is it in there quite snugly? Is it like...
Should I just check on it for you? Do you want me
Does
to
it
check?
reach the top?
Yeah, still in there. No one's tampered with it.
Oh, that didn't help. Is it? This is an outrageous guess. Oh wait, I can ask
One
a
more
question.
and then you get your guesses.
Is it related to? I mean, Davey asked a question, and it's similar. Is it related to the franchise we can't mention?
No. That would have been covered by
Okay.
the virus question. Davey?
No, but you said
No, I
yes to
didn't.
that.
Oh, well, it's not that. It's very loosely, potentially. I would have known definitely if, say it was to do with that franchise that can't be mentioned, 100% that would have been yes. But the thing that's coming out of this box might have a loose connection at some stage to some sort of virus.
That doesn't help at all. Davey, is your guess?
The problem is, Phil, I got to think about what
You're
own.
focusing way too much on this virus thing. I feel like this is a red herring. I feel like I've led you down a path here.
So this is what I know at the moment. I know there's no Gundams. I know there's no
No
Portal. No robots.
No Portal. No robots.
No franchise that can't be named.
No franchise that can't be named.
I think I know what
So,
franchise it is.
The thing
I
is,
feel like I know
if
what
it was The
franchise
Last
it
of
is.
Us, that would have been discounted because of the virus. Or it should have been. Even though it's a fungus.
I mean, I would have known that one to
Yeah.
be a virus.
It's a fungus, but yes. I would have said so.
Yeah,
I
it's a
reckon-
fungal infection.
It's a Chimera statue from Resistance 2. Because I know you own
Spencer?
that. I know it's a similar size and it can fit in there. And it is a virus.
So, fair guess. Spencer, final guess.
See, I don't know you or your possessions as well as Davey does. So I can't give a direct guess because I don't know what you own. But I would assume, seeing as you said a virus might loosely be, I know the story is fuck knows whatever in Metal Gear. So I would probably just say it's something to do with Metal Gear, maybe a weapon, maybe a character statue, but I don't know what you explicitly own of that franchise.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, something from Metal Gear. I don't
Let's
know what.
find out what is in the box. Suspense is killing me.
It's killing me right now.
I'm dead. Bro. Oh, what the bruv, there's nothing to do with viruses in that at all.
There
my
is
God.
some sort of zombies at some stage within the Uncharted franchise.
Yeah, but not
Where
in
they
that
chase
one.
you down.
Not in that one.
No.
No, there's like skeletons that rise from the dead.
even
I'm
Golden
fairly sure
Abyss?
on there.
I was saying that anything related to this you would have won. If you said anything to do with Uncharted, anything to do with Nathan Drake, anything to do with any of this series, you would have got the point. It didn't have to be this one. You would have got bonus points if you would nailed it down to a Vita game. But you
fair
guys
enough.
suck.
Fair enough.
Way off.
I was
Way off.
so committed to it being.
Unfortunately, guys, you didn't name what was in the box. So you both are you are both owed a shot.
Chin chin.
Jin.
Okay, guys, we're on to question 4 of my quiz, and each one very different. So this one is an oldie. It is called How Many Clanks? So this is for the mathematicians out there. In the game Horizon Forbidden West, you encounter an enemy which resembles a woolly mammoth. And I'm not doing any impressions of woolly mammoths. Maybe we can get one during the show. And potentially there's some bonus points if you can do a woolly mammoth once I ask the question. This is called the Tremor Tusk. My question is to you lads. How many clanks would equal the height of a male Tremor Tusk? Is it A, 5.57 clanks to 2 decimal points, not rounded up? B, 4.98 clanks, again not rounded up, because that's important. C, 6.46 clanks, so this is the tallest amount of clanks. Or D, 5.21 clanks. And it's over to you, Spence, first.
Right, well, I'm at a clear disadvantage immediately because I haven't played this game.
Well, let me give you a bit of surrounding information. So the woolly mammoth, roughly the same size as a modern African elephant. And if you want an impression of an African elephant, I'll hand it over to Davey. Do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I know my answer. I will stick with C.
6.46 clanks. Okay, Davey, C is off the board. So you've got 5.57 clanks, 4.98 clanks, or 5.21 clanks. And of course, all these numbers are round figures. They're not rounded up, they're not rounded down. This is the exact measurements. I've gone out to the African wilds. I've found my modern African elephant, and I've pitched a clank up against it with my little ruler, and I've found out this question for you guys.
See, the problem is, Phil, I'm looking at the statue I got to my left, which is a Trematusk against Aloy. Aloy, probably a 5'8" female, against what I'd imagine is probably a 21 foot, maybe 22 foot Trematusk. I can't remember how many feet Clank is. I think it's about 3 feet. I would have gone for the biggest one too, same as Spence. So I'll go for the next one down from that. So whatever that is, I think that's C. I'll go for the next one down.
No, I'm
So
C.
Spencer has picked C, 6.46 clanks. The next one down is 5.57 clanks.
That's what I'll go for.
So we're going big boys. We'll lock in those answers, and just to give you a bit more background information, Clank is 2 feet tall, or 0.61 meters tall. Okay, that's the metrics I'm working off. And the answer is A. Congratulations, Davey. You have got it right. It is 5.57 clanks. As I said, the woolly mammoths are roughly the same size as a modern African elephant. And the males can reach up to heights. And I'm going for the biggest one because those Trematusks are huge. 3.4 meters high. So congratulations, Davey. You've got another point on the board. You are running away with this. Okay, guys, we are on to the last question. And the last question in my quiz is the music round.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. So, guys, I'm going to play you 4 different tracks from famous video games. Can you identify which track is from the game Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow? Here
Never played it.
is track A. Track A. Here is track B.
Bro, that track go hard, you know.
Here is track C.
Yo, that track go harder, what the hell?
Here is track D. And here is track E. I've made it slightly more difficult for you. I've got 5 options here, okay? But track E. That is all you get in. So we're talking about the intro music. So when you're on the initial menu, when you load up Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, and here's a hint for you guys. PlayStation 2.
Davey, you go first.
I think I know all those tracks. I think I know all of them. The answer's A. I'm pretty sure the answer's A. After Spence gives a final answer, I want to say which tracks are what. See how close I am, if you don't mind, Phil.
Okay, that's interesting. Spence, are you up to this challenge as well?
I'm up to it, but the annoying thing is that I was also going to say A. But I accept the rules of the quiz. I know that we can't copy answers. So I'm just going to go for whichever track I thought went the most dummy hard. And that was track D. That shit was fire, bro.
Okay, so Davey, you've locked in A. Spencer, you've locked in D. And for a bonus shot that you can hand out to Spencer, can you name all of these tracks?
So I reckon A is from Pandora Tomorrow. B is from Metal Gear Solid 2. Easy. Metal Gear Solid... number 3. Can I hear that again, please?
Sure.
I know this, but I don't know why I know this. This from Tekken. This from
Bro, we
Tekken.
go so
I reckon.
hard.
I'm not
Okay.
100% sure on that one. That one's I'm rough on.
You know, if you get these wrong, you've got to take the shot.
Well, what if I get all of them wrong?
No, if you get one wrong.
Oh, well.
You were so
get one
confident.
Oh, well.
D?
Fuck it. Let's go for it. What's the?
Sounds like a GoldenEye theme.
No, it doesn't.
It does. GoldenEye goes hard, bro.
Not this hard.
Bro, GoldenEye
Not
goes
this
harder
hard.
than this.
People all over the world are saying, Davey, this is this game.
I don't know that last one. I got
You
to
don't
take
know
a
that
shot
one?
for that. No,
Okay,
I don't know.
we'll let you off.
That's not even the
I don't
last
know-
one,
I
bro.
don't know
There's
that
E
one.
as well.
What's E?
Okay, do you know E?
I know that one.
I only guess Devil May Cry game, but I don't know which one.
I would have said Devil May
Yeah,
Cry.
it sounds like a Devil May Cry theme. I don't know which one, though.
Okay, I'm going to run through them. Congratulations, Davey. You have correctly identified. A was Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. Also, Davey, congratulations. B, Metal Gear 2, Sons of Liberty. C, you struggled with. So there is a shot on the line for this one. What did you say?
I can't even remember, Phil. If I'm honest with you, I
So-
can't even remember.
So
it
C
wrong.
was Siphon
You got it
Filter.
wrong.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have got that right. I wouldn't have got them right.
Oh.
So I'm
big
sticking on
game.
the same themes with these games. They're all PlayStation titles. D was Tom Clancy's Hawks.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have got that.
And E was a classic, and you've mentioned it multiple times throughout the podcast. It was Mag.
Oh, really? Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
That is the intro music or the main theme for the game Mag. So, Spencer, unfortunately, you lost the point. Davey, you gained the point, but you both got to take a shot. Sorry, guys.
Fine, that's fine.
It's gone, and I'm out of fireball with that as well. That's my last fireball.
Okay, congratulations, guys. So just round out the quiz. Davey, you got 3 points from my quiz. Spencer, you got the single one. Unfortunately, there was a 0 point for you both on the third question. So that leaves us. Me, I've got 2 points overall. Davey, you have got 6. You are running away with this quiz. And Spencer,
And
you've
I've
just
got
got the
one.
single one right. So it's all to play for. I need to get every single one of these questions right when it comes to Davey's to win, I think.
I need to get all of them right to tie.
Guys, I'm about one drink away from being fucking sick right now. Let's just...
You won't have any shots in your quiz. Unless you put them in your quiz.
Oh, you know that moment where you're like, Joe, I'm taking a shot, and there's two choices here. I can either pussy out and be sick, or I can just take it and take it like a man. And you feel that fire going down in you, and you just hear this music, and it's like, dun 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 dun, and you just like fucking man up. You're just like, let's go, and then you're just gonna drink. I'm in that moment.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Listeners, we are back. You may be thinking to yourself, wow, these guys all of a sudden seem sober. And they're in different outfits. And they look slightly different, maybe a little bit fresher, maybe. Well, that's because we had a bit of an incident following the end of Phil's quiz. We got halfway through my quiz. We got to question 3. Before then, Spence, you disappeared. Do you want to tell us exactly what happened?
No, but I will. I don't know what it was. It felt like someone flipped a switch inside me, and that switch said, you need to go vomit right now. I'd guess 400. Bruv. I'll be back now, bro. I feel fucking horrendous. Hang on. That switch got pressed, and that was it. That was kind of just me done for the night. I didn't do a lot else, really. I was just head inside toilet for about 3 hours, maybe.
The big quiz has claimed its first victim.
Yeah.
It took 40 episodes, and bearing in mind, the last couple of times we've done this, we've got to the point where we've got maybe a topic later. And that topic has taken maybe 3 hours to put down for a 10-minute topic because it's starting, I'm just constantly laughing. We've had some absolute messes in our time, but this is the first time we've actually had to stop it So well done, Spence. I think that's an achievement in
Well
itself.
done.
So I'm going to give you a clap for that one.
Thank you. Do I get any points?
No, unfortunately not. But the one thing that does happen is that we're just redoing my quiz again. So we got 5 brand new questions for you guys. This quiz's name is It Takes Two. You're both going to be working together. Each question has 2 points on the line. Now, as we're not drinking today, any shots that are accumulated on this will be used on the next episode. Is that fair to say? Because we're recording on a Sunday now.
100% fine with me, mate.
That's peak. That's peak.
Yeah, it's a bit grim for you guys. So, I mean, I've already settled all my debts from your 2 quizzes, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose. So you're going to be working together on this. You can both talk between yourselves. You can come up with the right solution to the answers. No problem whatsoever with that. And let's move it on to the first question. Question 1. In the game, Devil May Cry, what are the names of Dante's guns?
Is it either of us? Do we converse or?
If you want to converse, you're more than welcome to. If one of you is just happy just to take the gander with it, then go for it, I guess.
Well,
that's up to yourselves.
Spence, don't jump in too quick because I know you are a connoisseur when it comes to Devil May Cry. You're a big fan. I've played the games and I think it's Ebony and Ivory. But I'm gonna pass it to you. Is that correct?
It is 100% correct. Yes, Ebony and Ivory.
Well done. Totally bang on. I thought I'd give you a nice, easy one to begin with. And after that, it's going to get progressively harder. But I've kind of written these out of order. So some are going to be really hard. Some are then going to take it back down a little bit. But well done on the first one. So you got 2 points in the bag to kick it all off. Well done, guys.
Can I quickly ask, do you know what the sword is called?
No, I don't. What is the sword called?
Phil, do you know? For an extra point?
There's no extra points.
Why don't you put us out of our misery, Spence?
I'm fairly sure it's called Rebellion. But if I'm wrong, imagine.
Just dock those points straight away. So we're going to move it on to question 2. As you all know, I love earning a trophy. But the question is, when was the trophy system introduced? Was it June 6th, 2007, July 2nd, 2008, August 15th, 2009, or October 20th, 2006?
Okay, well, we might need you to repeat those in a second.
Yeah, we will, yeah.
But to my knowledge, the trophy system was introduced with, I'm saying PS3, but then I'm thinking potentially, did it come earlier on one of the handhelds? You're going PS3 as well? You're thinking along the same lines as me?
I think PSP came out after PS3, and I'm fairly sure it started with PS3.
Okay, so we're looking for the PS3 dates. Davey,
The question is, did it launch with trophies?
well, that's what I'm going to say. So, Davey, can you give us the dates again? I'm going to write those down. Brought my handy pad and paper, so I'm not Googling anything. I'm not cheating. People see me typing on the keyboard. They're like, he's cheating. But no, I can't. Old trusted pen and paper for this. Bring it on. Give me the options again, Davey, please.
Okay, so option 1 is June 6th, 2007. Option 2 is July 2nd, 2008. Option 3 is August 15th, 2009. And the final one is October 20th, 2006.
Okay, so we're looking at the years here. We got 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009. It's probably the dates of PS3, I'm assuming. Do you know the specific dates of when the PS3 came out, Spence?
No. It was after 2006, 100%. Or maybe it wasn't. The Wii came out 2008.
Okay, so
2006.
So I'll give you a second to think about that. Let me tell you my history when it comes to the PS3. I bought the PS3 out in the States around launch. I came home with, I think, a Tony Hawk's game and a Gundam game, and they did not have trophies, to my knowledge. I think trophies came in slightly after or midway through PS3. Maybe mid's too far, but it wasn't there initially, and from what I remember.
I'll confirm something for you guys. The PlayStation 3 was the first time trophies were introduced, and it wasn't there on launch.
There we go. I'm correct so far in what I've said then. I'm justified there. So I think 2006 you're probably going too early. 2009 is probably too late. I'm guessing either 2007, 2008 is going to be a bit of a coin flip. I'd say it's earlier rather than later, so I'm more inclined to go June 6th, 2007. How about you, Spence?
I'm more inclined to say July 2nd, 2008. Should we get Siri to pick one of us?
Well, I mean, you got the last one right, so I'm happy going with the 2008.
But if I got the last one right, should we trust you for this one?
Davey, let's lock in 2008.
So, just to give you a bit of trivia, the PlayStation 3 launched on the 11th of November 2006. Trophies went live following the PS3 system update 2.4 on July 2nd, 2008. Well done, guys.
Well
done
Spence.
On that
well
one.
done, mate.
Let's go. Thanks for trusting me, mate.
Look at this. Look at this teamwork here from you guys. This is what I love to see. So you got 4 points out of a guaranteed 4 points so far. Well done, guys.
This is what happens when we don't go into a big quiz trashed. Turns out we know a little bit about PlayStation, right? And between the two of us, we've been able to decipher your very sadistic quiz, Davey, to try and root us out, to try and get us to argue against each other. No, mate, we're getting 5 for 5.
Okay, well, you got 3 questions left to go. So let's bring it on to the next one. Question 3. We all know Nathan Drake as a lovable treasure hunter from the Uncharted series. But what is his mother's name? Is it Sigourney Drake, Melissa Jones, Cassandra Morgan, or Harriet Smith?
Could you repeat that first name for me, please?
Of course. I'll give you the full options again, just in case somebody wants to put this on their pad or anything like that. We got Sigourney Drake,
Sigourney.
Melissa Jones, Cassandra Morgan, or Harriet Smith.
Harriet Smith for me, and the Melissa Jones, I think. These seem too, like, I live in Wales and I'm going to come up with a second name kind of situation, right? Jones and Smith, they're too simplistic for me. I don't think it was a Drake as a second name, because generally the woman potentially doesn't carry forward their second name. So I'm probably looking towards the third option. Davey, can you repeat that one?
Yeah, the third option was Cassandra Morgan.
Oh, I don't know. Cassandra has a very poignant relationship with myself and you, Davey. But we won't go into that. So I just don't know, Spence. Have you got any kind of inkling to what this possibly could be?
I'm thinking, I agree with you in terms of Harriet and Melissa. Those are two English last names, let's say, like UK last names. I think, obviously, like you said, the woman usually doesn't keep her maiden name. However, if it's important to her, which is a historical name for her, the descendants of whoever the fuck it is, she might, in that respect, in terms of Uncharted lore. But maybe it's not her side of the family that it comes from. Who knows? This is as big a guess as it ever could be, I think, for us.
The thing about the first name, obviously, Sigourney, did you say? As in Sigourney Weaver Drake?
Well, it's just Sigourney Drake. There's no Weaver in there.
I know you're a big Aliens fan. So if I'm there looking around my room, I'm thinking, well, what name could I go for to mess these boys up? And you see your Aliens DVD on the side, and you're like, this'll get them. This'll catch them off. I'm convinced it's C. Now, Spence, you've done pretty well so far, and I don't really want to be the one to mess up this streak, but I'm convinced it's option C.
So you think it's Cassandra Morgan? I don't know if I'm inclined to agree with you. I will agree with you. We'll go with your gut, because we've gone with mine the last two. But I'd like to put out there that I think it's Melissa Jones.
It's the first time you've mentioned that name.
I know. It's just, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Melissa.
The MJ.
Not a bad name. The MJ. It is MJ.
Can I get a final answer from you guys?
We're sticking with Phil's guess. C, Cassandra Morgan.
Her name is Cassandra Morgan.
Phil!
Get
She's
it!
frequently
Let's get
mentioned
it!
she's frequently mentioned in the 4th entry, A Thief's End. Well done, guys. Well done. You are on fire. Doing this sober, like you said, maybe it's giving you some extra powers, maybe some extra powers of deduction that maybe just seem to go away when we're completely trashed. But well done.
For the rest of this quiz, can you call me Sherlock? And can you call Spencer Holmes?
No, I can't. But we'll see how you get on. If you manage to get a 5 for 5, then hell yeah, I'll change your names legally at that point to that combo. But we got 2 more questions to go. So far, guys, just to let you know, you're at 6 points so far, which is phenomenal. That's a great start. Let's move it on to question 4. Ratchet and Clank have been staples of the PlayStation ecosystem since their introduction on the PS2 in 2002. But how many Ratchet and Clank games are there? Is there 7, 14, 17, or 22?
That is a hard question. Because I know there's a lot, and I know they appeared on the handhelds as well. I'm a big fan of Ratchet and Clank, but I'm not that big a fan to own all the games, but I own quite a few. Am I allowed to look around and see if I own more than 7? Because they're all up on my shelf behind me. Is that cheating?
I'll allow it.
Give me a sec, Spence. You give us your thoughts.
I was thinking, surely you'd say, like, you started with 7, and I was like, 7's a healthy amount, sure. Then you went 14, and it only went up. And I thought, what? Surely it'd be like a 9 or a 10? 22? What the make different games?
Well, aren't we glad that Insomniac now are doing, Spider-Man and Wolverine and everything else? I mean, they've been doing all these Ratchet and Clanks, and we've only got 3 Resistance games. That's what makes me sick.
Okay, guys, I'm back. And on my shelf, I have 7 Ratchet and Clank games, but I don't have any of the portable games.
That's good. That helps. So 7's out the window.
I would pretty much say 7's going to be out the window because there's definitely more games than I have if we're counting the portable games. And I'm thinking the portable games weren't ports, they were games in themselves. Davey, can you clarify if something is a port, does that count as an additional game?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't class additional games. So, like the collections and things like that don't class. But, like you're mentioning, for the ones on PSP and elsewhere, those would count as entries.
Well, it's not 7. I think 22 is going to be too highball. 14 sticking out to me, but it might be just because it's my birth date. I'm on the 14th of November. If people want to remember that for my wish list, it'll be in the description below. But 14 and 17, they're so close, aren't they? And I know the way Davey's mind works. It's one of those two, Spence. It's a coin flip again. I think it's 14 or 17.
Yeah.
It's definitely not 7 because I own 7 and there's definitely more games than that. But then, is there that many more games than that? Because 7 to 14, that's another 7 games. And I got PS2 games, PS3 games, PS4 games, and PS5 games on my shelf. Oh, it's a difficult one.
Yeah. For some reason, what I'm thinking of, it might be related to the last question. But you got to think, how long has Ratchet and Clank been a staple of PlayStation? It's been a long time. And Uncharted has had like a quarter of the amount of time that Ratchet has, and Uncharted has 6 games. That's a lot.
Yeah.
How many could... And in the era of like PS2 and portable games were coming out the wazoo. They were everywhere. Games just got chucked out with 2-year development cycles.
I think if we said 14, and it turns out to be 7, I'm going to kick myself. And the games that I've got up there are just ports or something like that, or there's different editions somewhere along the line. We're getting a little confused. Maybe we're thinking there's way more than there is. But 7 to 14, 7 more games that I don't own of Ratchet and Clank. And I would class myself as a fan. What do you reckon, Spence? You've been good so far.
I would say 14. I feel like 17 is too
17
many.
is too many, 22 is too many. I've got a lot of games. I've got quite a big collection. Turns out not as many as most people on Twitter whenever I look up collections, but I thought I had quite a big collection. Okay, let's lock in 14. We'll go 14?
The answer is 17. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. You were
Wow.
close. You were in the right ballpark. But yeah, 17 really shocked me, actually, seeing that many number of games. It's actually insane. So you've got 1 question wrong so far, so 2 points lost. Still on 6, though, so still doing incredibly well. For the final question, Can you end it with 8 points? Let's have a look. The game that can't be mentioned has included many viruses over its run of games. Name 4 of them.
Okay. T-virus, C-virus, Ouroboros, and...
Las Plagas.
Ouroboros and Las Plagas are not viruses.
Ah. The G virus.
Yep. So that's 3 so far.
the mold?
I know, I was going to say the mold. It doesn't count.
What other letters are there?
Think about what you're gonna say from now on, because I could have ended your run by saying some incorrect answers here.
Okay, so which ones have we got so far?
So you got the C virus,
Yep.
you got the T virus,
Yep.
and you got the G virus.
And you're saying Ouroboros and Las Plagas, you're not counting those as viruses?
And they're not viruses. No, they're not viruses.
Parasite kind of things, aren't
Yeah.
they?
So you're welcome to discuss between yourselves, but when you present
I think-
whatever you present as your next one, I will take it as your answer.
Okay. Phil.
So G virus is Birkin, isn't it? That's 2.
Yeah.
T virus is Tyrant. C virus is... You're really testing my knowledge on these viruses. I'm not as in... I haven't been
I know, yeah.
releasing YouTube videos for the last year and a half on this game that cannot be mentioned.
I think our best way of thinking is going through games without saying them explicitly, but thinking about what the game entails. So obviously the games I haven't played are Zero and Code Veronica. Do those have different ones?
So in Veronica, it's not just going to be the V virus. That doesn't make sense, right? The V virus. The thing is, it's the Ashleys, isn't it? The owners. The A virus?
This is a bitch.
Four's
bro.
hard. I think we've just plumped for the real obvious ones that literally everyone would know.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to originally have it as 3, and then I thought 3's so easy. 3 is proper easy. So I thought 4 at least stretches it a little bit. There's 2 more that I can think of off the top of my head that you've missed. And they're not like hidden ones that you don't hear about.
No, but are they from like spin-off games or
No.
um
The one I'll give you a hint. The one is the base that then they created the T virus from, that was expanded on in the 5th entry. They spoke about it quite a lot. And the other is from a different mainline series game.
So that'll be Revelations.
Oh, from the flower.
Because you love Revelations.
No, wouldn't be from. I mean, if you did manage to pull the Revelations one out, then I'd be very impressed.
is the one, does it come from the flower in RE5?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Fuck.
Because they go back to that, don't they, in 8, and talk about that as well.
Kind of. About
Yeah.
like Spencer finding it.
I'm honestly at a loss.
Alright, let's think about the alphabet, bro. Let's just recite the alphabet and think what sounds good.
The D virus, the Dick virus.
They all have the E sound, all the letters. You know what I mean?
I'm at a loss, honestly.
Do we pick a random letter and just go with it? We might have to.
I don't want to rush you guys, but I'm going to give you 1 minute to give me your answer.
So he's rushing us then. He does want to. What would your guess be, Phil? And we'll discuss.
So Las Plagas is going to be around a P, isn't it? The P virus? I don't know. Las Plagas?
Yeah, but it's not. It wouldn't count anyway. It's
No,
not
no,
a
no,
virus.
no,
It's
but
from
surely-
parasites, isn't it?
They use that to manipulate people further down the line and create a virus from Las Plagas or Ouroboros, or is there any kind of reoccurrence of those non-viruses?
I think down the line when they use it to like make controllable soldiers, it's still a parasite.
Your time, gentlemen, is up. What is your answer?
Do you want to just go A virus for Ashley? Why wouldn't they start with A? Well, what else have you got?
All of them are like the E sounding ones, so I'd say either like P, D, or E.
Covering your bases there.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So you're going P, D, or E? Virus. No. No.
No,
The other
none of
answers
it.
I thought of off the top of my head are... Now, you've got the T virus, which is great, the obvious one. You got G virus, again, another obvious one. And you got the C virus, which I was quite surprised you remembered that one from the 6th entry. And that is kind of in relation to Ouroboros. That kind of came from that. The two that you could have gone for, you were really close to it, so I'm surprised you didn't hone on it even more. The T. Veronica virus.
I knew
From Code Veronica. Or the progenitor virus, which is the flower.
Oh, that's what it's called.
That's the flower.
We were very close.
That's what it's
We
called.
were there. We touched it. But
Super close.
As you were talking then, explaining the two you missed, I was like, I swear Davey said T. Veronica to me before. On God, it was in my head. And the second you said the T, I was like, he's gonna say it. Fuck.
Oh, well, unlucky, guys. You still did really well, though. 3 questions right, so you got 6 points. And this is where you realise that my quiz wasn't about you working together at all. I sent you both in the post a package containing some golden balls. Now, Phil, from what I learned the other day, is that your balls never arrived. You don't have my golden balls in your hand right now. They just never arrived in the post.
unfortunately, your balls did not drop through my post.
So, unfortunately, you're going to have to use a pen and paper for this one. The way this is going to work, you got 6 points. With your balls, you'll find one ball is a split ball and one ball is a steel ball. If one of you hits steel and the other hits to split, whoever put the steel ball in will take the grand prize of 6 points, which will surely guarantee your win of the big quiz. If you both split, then those 6 points you'll be awarded with 3 each. Not quite enough to take home the gold for both of you, but one of you I think it would do. What are the points going into this before these potential 6 points get added to the total? Where are we at?
Okay, so from what I can remember from that very hazy night of quizzing and talking PlayStation, Spencer unfortunately only managed 1 point. He got 1 question right throughout my quiz. I got 2 questions right. And Davey, you were running away with it. You got 6 points throughout mine and Spencer's quiz. So yeah, it means a lot to me if I'm able to take all these points, because I would then take the win. But Spencer, actually, if you steal, you could take the win as well with that math.
So it means it's all to play for on this. Now, I'm going to give you guys, as per the rules of Golden Balls, you're going to have 2 minutes to be able to discuss between yourselves what you should do. And then I'm going to ask you to show the camera whether you split or you steal. Have it away, guys.
Okay, Spence, right? I just don't want Davey to win. So I'm more than happy to allow you to win.
I've always known which I'd choose, and that's already in my hand. I already know what I'm picking.
Sounds good to me. If we know, we know. And I know you. I know on the podcast, right? We all represent different areas. You are always the nice guy. So you would probably split with me. You are Mr. Nice Guy on the podcast. You are Hufflepuff.
I am. I'm seen as that. Yes, correct. But how nice are you? I don't know what you would choose.
Well, it's a choice between you and Davey. I would much prefer you to win than Davey. We'll never hear the last of it. 10 episodes
But
of
I
Davey.
want you to
Just
win.
Look at his smug little smile. Let's wipe that grin off his face. And Spence, I'll lift you above my shoulders and you can take the win.
I
Okay,
want to
fine.
lift
I
you
can steal.
above.
If you want me to steal, I'll steal. Okay, let's do it then.
I want you to steal.
You need to bright split. And you can keep with your nice guy persona
split.
for the podcast. Right, let's go.
I'm happy with that.
Show me your golden ball. Oh, so he actually has done it.
Thanks, Spence.
So Phil has taken the steal on this. So that means that with those 6 points that you've accumulated from that, Phil, you've gone well into the lead. So you have stolen it right out from underneath me. But I thought I'd give you guys the opportunity to potentially screw yourselves over. And annoyingly, you didn't. You worked as a team. If this was me on the receiving end of this, there's no way that I would want anything more than the power of those shots for the next episode. Because whoever wins the big quiz, remember, you get to give out shots on the next episode. So it's a big prize, a big deal. 5 shots, I think it is. But, Phil, the power is now yours. So well done. Congratulations on winning the big quiz 4.
Thank you, lads. You know, there's definitely a moral to this story, isn't there? You know, nice guys, they finished second in this. You know, they helped me win. Very nice of you, Spencer. Thank you so much. I didn't want to have to put up with Davey for the next 10 episodes, you know, with that smug little smile, as I said earlier. Now you're going to see my smile.
So that means the current standings for the big quiz. Phil's now on 2, me and Spencer on 1. Congratulations again, Phil. Then let's move it on to the next topic. So guys, we are on to the final topic of today after the big quiz and Phil's dramatic upset for me, which I'm still a little bit sad about, but, you know, we'll move it on. So, Spartacus, the thing we've been talking about on and off now for the past, well, it feels like forever, really. It's been heavily rumoured. We've seen all the rumours that had pricing and the kind of description for what this service was going to entail. Well, it's been revealed to us. We've actually got it. So, back on the PlayStation blog, which was posted about on March 29th, we got everything. We know exactly what's happening, and the rumours were pretty much bang on. So I'll run through this super quick for you guys in terms of what the tiers are, what they include, and then I want to know your thoughts then about this service and where you think it kind of sticks, especially compared to the competition that's out there at the moment for services. So the 3 tiers are PlayStation Plus Essential, PlayStation Plus Extra, and PlayStation Plus Premium. So PlayStation Plus Essential is essentially the same as standard PlayStation Plus that we all know and love today, with pricing being $49.99 for the year, $6.99 monthly, or $19.99 on a quarterly basis. So it's same thing, pretty much exactly the same. So it's 2 monthly downloadable games, exclusive discounts, cloud storage for saved games, and online multiplayer access. Literally no difference whatsoever. PlayStation Plus Extra provides all the benefits from the Essential tier, and adds a catalogue of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including, as it says on the blog, blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalogue and third-party partners. Games in the extra tier are downloadable for play. So that's essentially like PlayStation Now. And that is $10.99 a month, $31.99 on a quarterly basis, or $83.99 for a year. So that is just rolling in PlayStation Plus with PlayStation Now. PlayStation Plus Premium is the final one. And with this, it provides all the benefits from the Essential and Extra tiers, adds up to 340 additional games, including the PS3 games that are available via cloud streaming, and a catalogue of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations. Now, there's some other nonsense on here about different markets where you're still going to have to stream games, but that's not going to apply to us. We'll be fine with it on downloadable basis. So I'm not really going to go too deeply into that. All I'd say is if you are an international listener, which a lot of you are, then maybe it might be worth going onto the blog, which I'll put in the description of the podcast. Check for yourself. I think for ourselves, America and Australia and Europe, we're all fine. We're all part of the downloadable team. So I'm not going to really go too deeply into that, but check it out for yourself. And the final piece for this is time-limited game trials will also be offered in this tier, so customers can try select games before they buy it. Pricing, again, this is UK now, $13.49 on a monthly, $39.99 quarterly, and $99.99 yearly. Now, before I bounce it over and get your guys' opinions on this, I do want to clarify one thing, and that is that currently with PlayStation Now, you get access to PS3 games as part of that service. So that is being stripped out and put towards the premium. So actually, even though you could quite easily say that PlayStation Plus Extra is essentially Now and PlayStation Plus together, it's kind of not. It is a worse deal because the PS3 games have been cut out of that tier and put into the premium. Just wanted to kind of clarify that a little bit before somebody wants to make a correction. So guys, what are your thoughts on this service? What are you thinking about the pricing? And ultimately, what tier are you thinking you're going to go into? Spence, I want to come to you first on this one.
All 3 tiers clearly have their benefits, depending on what kind of gamer you are. If you just want the essentials, you're on a PS5, so you just want your next-gen experiences, obviously the bare minimum's going to do it for you, and that's understandable. But if you're someone who likes to obviously be a bit nostalgic, go in the past, play old games, which I think all 3 of us certainly are, I think the other tiers help, especially if we're doing spoiler casts from the past. I think these extra tiers would be very beneficial to us, depending on the games in the libraries. The main thing that stands out is the PS3 being exclusive to Premium. The fact that it is still stream only to play the games, which I know a lot of people complain about. A lot of people don't understand why we can't download PS3 games. And it's all just because of the way the PS3 was designed in terms of hardware. The games literally don't work on other platforms. And I guess that could be revised in a Pro model or a different version of the PS5, but I can't imagine it happening, especially if it means they can't do the stream versions of Premium.
I think that's a really good point, to be honest with you, because it is a shame. And it's something that apparently Sony have come out now and said they're working on, that they're working on being able to get this downloadable and get it worked out. But the question always comes back to, why the hell haven't Sony done this sooner? I know that it's hard with the cell processor, and the PS3 wasn't as good at being kind of forward-thinking as like the Xbox was, because it was very different hardware completely. But that's not our problem. I know we said that before on the podcast. It's not my fault that they designed the PS3 in such a weird way that it makes it harder going forwards. Sony, you got the money there. Sort it out.
What confuses me with Sony is that they've never ventured into the modular kind of aspect of the PlayStation. You know, you've got, if we look back at the Sega Mega Drive, you had the 32X to boost that processing power. Why couldn't we just have a chip or something we plug in the side of the PS5 to allow us to play the PS3 games and have that backwards compatibility?
I don't know. I mean, modular stuff was super popular, wasn't it, back in the day, especially when you're looking at things like the Sega runner consoles, or even when you're talking about I think probably N64 was the last time it was properly done, where there was kind of like built-in kind of modular design on certain carts and things like that. It hasn't really been a thing for quite a long time, though, outside of, boosted memory.
I know the GameCube actually had quite a lot of modular accessories as well. The GameCube had a whole thing you could attach to allow it to play Game Boy games. And that was another cool thing with it. And you could play Game Boy games on your big screen. So I think that might be the last instance.
Yeah, I think there's got to be some kind of solution. And ideally, you don't want it to be something that's going to cost the consumer anything more. Right? Because if somebody said to me, yes, you could play your PlayStation 3 games on your PS5, but it's going to cost you 40 quid for this little add-on, I'd feel like that's taking the piss. Even though that's ultimately a good thing. Do I want to do that? And let's be real here. There's a lot of outrage when it comes to Twitter and all social media when it comes to backwards compat. Realistically, not many people actually use it. It's not that big of a feature. It's something that people love to talk about, and they say, yes, I definitely will be using it. I 100% will. And then really, all we're seeing is Grand Theft Auto 5 hit the charts every single month because people are just buying that game over and over and over again. Really, I mean, I know I go back and play older games, but I'm doing that kind of for review or for this podcast when we're talking about spoiler casts from the past. There's too many games out right now. I don't have time to be able to go in and really unlock my retro kind of gamer that's innate inside me to want to go back and revisit MGS2 or whatever it is, I just don't have that kind of luxury of time that I would really need to be able to go down this rabbit hole. But maybe that's just me. I mean, how are you feeling about that, Phil?
I come from a PC background, so, at any time I could just load up, Doom or any of the original sort of, Theme Hospital, anything like that at any point, right? The backwards compatibility for PC is never a problem. I just want to see it with my PlayStation, I have all the consoles behind me, so yes, I could just take the console downstairs, take the HDMI out and plug it all back in and it would all work perfectly, right? I've got a massive collection of old video games, which I still do play. But it would just be nice if I could have that little add-on or that little software upgrade, possibly in the future, or, something on the cloud that allows me to play my older games on my PS5.
So I suppose with this difference in tiers, right, and moving it away from what we could be talking about when it comes to how they go about doing this, because ultimately Sony aren't paying us to come up with a solution for them. They got engineers there. We're not going to give them all the best ideas for free. You can come to us and pay for that service, all right? What service are you thinking you're going to go for, guys?
I'll be going for the premium. And that's mostly just because I had a PS3. I had it for maybe half a year and it was stolen. I didn't actually get a chance to play many of the great games that are on that system. And also back on the PSP, I'd love to play Crisis Core again. The PS2, I mostly just played the games my mum bought me, because I was a little chap back then. You didn't get any of the big hits, you just bought whatever was on sale at the time. So I'm sure there's a plethora of fantastic games on the PS2 that I've missed. So I'd like that. The original PlayStation, barely played any of the games. I played Mickey's Wild Adventure and Disney-based games, and Elmo's, whatever it was, a game where you're at a theme park and you count numbers. There's a lot of games I've missed out on, so I think at least for the first or second year, it'd be a good idea for me to get premium so I can go and revisit those old games, or visit them for the first time even, and just experience PlayStation's history. And I think that's what this premium membership would do for me. And until it runs out of its use, I'd probably be sticking with that membership.
What about yourself, Phil?
Before we get too deep into, why I'm only going to be dipping my toe with the PlayStation Plus Essentials, can we just talk about the name for a minute? PlayStation Spartacus going round, and I was thinking, I really hope they don't stick with that name. PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, separating those two services was always a mistake, and a little confusing for people on the outside looking into what those services included. Now that they're bringing them both in line together, it makes so much more sense in my mind.
Yeah, you're totally bang on. It was stupid before, their whole approach. And I think we've spoken about this in depth on the podcast before, really, about the mistake that they made with this, and about how when Spartacus was first kind of announced, we spoke about how they really should just do this as soon as possible, get the two services together, a slight upcharge, and then people can have that if they want to. I'm thinking the names themselves, when you're talking about PlayStation Plus Premium, PlayStation Plus Extra, or PlayStation Plus Essential, I think they're just really good. I think the naming system is excellent. I think it just really shows that if you just want to have what you get now with PlayStation Plus, having it as just essential, it is essential. It's an essential service for me, PlayStation Plus. I always felt it has been. And I've never felt that I've not got my money's worth with it. You think about the amount of quality titles we do get over a 12-month period. Granted, I might not have the time to be able to play them all, but knowing that they're there and that they're not some throwaway bullshit games, I'd definitely say that's essential, 100% for pretty much anyone that owns a PlayStation. And then if you want to take it up an extra couple of notches, you can. And I think that the naming really just makes that quite easy on the eyes then. And I think the pricing going up, if we look at it in UK money, an extra like 20 quid each run, it's not that crazy. I mean, like, I remember when we were talking about this and we were saying that this kind of sweet point was about 80. And so it's a bit over that with 99.99. But I've got some money saving tips for how we can get that a little bit cheaper, which I'll move on to in a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the names. I really am. What about yourself, Spence? Are you kind of falling in line with me and Phil on this one?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to disagree. The naming structure just kind of makes it so understandable of what each tier is and what benefits you gain. There's not going to be anywhere near as much confusion as there ever used to be. It's just a better system. You can't really argue it. But if anyone can, I'd love to hear it. So I don't know how anyone could.
So is it fair to say then, Phil, that you're going to be sticking with Essential for the time being?
Yeah, so my current setup is that I just have the normal PlayStation Plus. I don't subscribe to PlayStation Now. And let's be real, was there many PlayStation Now subscribers that didn't have Plus? So having this tiering system makes a lot more sense, that this is the second level within PlayStation Plus. And as you boys have just sort of gone through, the naming structure, it makes so much more sense now. Essential, Plus Extra, and Premium. It's obvious what you're getting. But yes, for me, I think initially, because there's no reward for being a previous subscriber, which I hope there would be, but Sony doesn't do that type of stuff, I think I would be sticking on the PlayStation Essential.
Yeah, I mean, a reward structure would have been just lovely, wouldn't it? But when you're market leader, like they are, you don't really have to give too much goodwill, which I know is a really shit thing to say, and that's not what people want to hear, but you don't have to. I mean, the biggest competition to them is Xbox, and it just ain't happening over there at the moment, is it? Let's be real, guys. So I think for me, I'm going to go for Premium, 100%. Now, the big thing for me isn't the PS3 games, because cloud streaming does suck. It's okay, and I know that me and Spence, when he's come around to mine, we've done quite a few games via the cloud streaming, and it's okay, it's all right. But you are quite limited to what you want to do. You wouldn't think about, I'm going to play like a classic fighting game from PS3 on cloud streaming. There's no way. You just wouldn't even dream of it. Same reason that I haven't gone back and played Resistance 3. which is on the cloud streaming currently on now, because I don't want to be dealing with that in a first-person shooter. I just don't like the idea of that. Whereas if it's something like Azura's Wrath or any kind of game like that where you're not really too focused on it being Twitch-based, I think that works fine on cloud streaming. For me, the big thing that kind of gets me in here is PlayStation PS2 and PSP generations, especially PSP generations. I had a PSP, and I left it around a girlfriend's house, and then we broke up, and she had it. So she's got my PSP. I don't have it back. And I think in there at the time, I had one of the God of Wars, I think it was Ghost of Sparta, and I had MotorStorm Arctic Edge. Loved that game. Great game. And yeah, I've lost them. So to be able to go back to my PSP and play some games off that would be awesome. And it also means that when you go to capture gameplay, it's a lot easier to do that because you can just plug in a capture card, play it direct off the TV. Fantastic addition, that is. The biggest question for me, are these games going to have trophies? Can you see them going the extra mile with these games? Because they are select titles. 340 additional games, including PlayStation 3 and a catalogue of beloved classic games for the other consoles. Can you see them going the extra mile on here and incorporating trophies in? Because for me personally, I think that is what you should do. You should leverage your trophies for the premium tiers. You're already going after the hardest of hardcore with the premium price bracket. Why not make it so it's essentially essential for the people that love collecting trophies? Anyone who's on psntrophies.com, checking out their scoring, checking out their place in the leaderboards for the month, there's a big selection of people that do that. This would be a way that you think, do you know what? We can get them. We can get them here, and it wouldn't take too much work for the titles you choose. I would love that so much. To be able to go back and get trophies on MGS1, to be able to go back to Siphon Filter and get some trophies for burning some guy with a taser. You know, all just little cool things that I'd love to be able to show off my digital dick with a trophy. And I personally, that just sings so loudly for me for something that Sony really should put the extra work and time into to make that a reality. Do you think I'm delusional with this one, guys?
I've got a quick question for you, Davey. So I'm going back to a PS2 game or a PSP game. Do I speak to the developer, or is this something that Sony is now going to develop for these games? You know, who makes the choices on what a trophy is worth in this game, and at what level you get these trophies?
Well, I think that's why they're saying a select catalogue of games, because it's ones that they can easily get their mitts on. You know, you're not going to see something here. You're not going to see like any of the old WWE Attitude games or anything like that, because they've all got licensed music in them. They've all got licensed wrestlers and different things that make it quite difficult to do. Like you think about when they redid Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, it had a totally different soundtrack to it. And people went nuts at first because they didn't have, you know, like Papa Roach Blood Brothers or whatever. And then they kind of like patched these things in because they're so kind of important to the fan base and they kind of resonate with it so much. So I think you're not going to see anything that's got like, you know, licenses out the wazoo. You're going to see stuff that's just quite easy for them to pick up and put on. And if you think PS2 generation, really the companies that you're going to be dealing with when you're talking like classics, you can be talking with Konami quite a lot, because you'll be wanting to have Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 without shadow of a doubt for PS2 generation. You're going to want to be going to some studios which are now first-party PlayStation. So, you know, Insomniac, you're going to be wanting to, for the Ratchet and Clank series that debuted on PS2. You're going to be wanting to go back to really just all the major players that are out there today. You know, if you think about Capcom with Okami, you'd want that on there. You'd want just like the games that redefined the PlayStation 2 generation. And there's not going to be too many of those that aren't still running today from major publishers. That's my kind of takeaway on it. If they said they were going to do like the entire back catalogue, then yeah, you'd have problems. You'd have so many issues. But I think if they're doing it 340 games, of which probably I imagine, I mean, we could probably actually check this out now. In fact, let's check it out now. I don't have a fucking clue. Nothing else to do, so that's all ask Google. Right, so a quick Google search shows that currently on PlayStation Now, there's 375 PS3 games that are available on that. So it means that they're not bringing over the full catalogue of PS3 games over to PlayStation Plus Premium. So really, this could be about 20 games maybe for each thing. Say like 20 PS1 games. Maybe the easy way out for this would be they'd have all the games that are on the PlayStation Classic, the little console that I own, that I'm always raving about. I love that little console. They could have the lineup from that, bring that over, PS2, maybe 20 games, 30 games from that, and PSP games kind of similar, 20 games from that, done. And the rest of it fill up with PlayStation 3 games. That's probably the way I'd do it. And then as months and months go on, you expand on it, just like Nintendo do with their back catalogue of, N64 games and everything else that they do.
Yeah, I very much like that as an option, especially if I was a trophy hunter, It comes up, they're bringing back Metal Gear Solid 2, and that's going to have trophy support. Then hell yeah, that's going to be the month I'll subscribe to Premium to get that experience with Metal Gear 2 and to get those trophies. But once I'm out of it, I can drop down my tier.
I'm kind of praying at this point, right? Let's just make this clear. I'm not 100% that Sony would do this, but I'm hoping that they will go the extra mile on this because there is business sense to doing that. All you got to think about is how well these games sell. I mean, Spence probably bought them all. The games that give you like an immediate platinum after about 20 minutes. Spence is a prime customer of those, and he's not alone. There's a lot of people that go in and buy, Donut Country or any of these other games that just literally Chickens on the Run or whatever it was.
I was about to rebuttal. Donut County was 8 hours.
Exactly right. So there's a market already for games that do this to try and get trophy hunters. So why not incorporate that in? Do you think I'm being delusional here when I'm talking about trophies in these classic games?
I don't think you're delusional. I think, similar to as you said, it's certainly a case-by-case basis. They definitely can't do it for all games. But the games they're bringing, they're going to be specific games. They're going to be big, or hopefully big games tied to the platforms. I could imagine them at least trying their best to, especially on the big hitters, such as, like you boys said, the Metal Gear franchise. I'd love to see it. I would absolutely adore to see it. I don't think it's their main priority, but it should be one of them. It's
a difficult one to say. And I mean, this service, we're going to really learn all the kind of nuts and bolts with this when it comes to what games are being released and everything else before June, because the service is expected to launch by the end of half year of 2022. So only a couple of months away, really, and then it should be live. So I imagine probably in the next 3 episodes or so, we'll start getting the first details of what this service is going to include and what those games are. And then I suppose that will open another can of worms then on if we feel these selections don't hit up to our expectation or if they've done well. And also kind of the minutiae when it comes to do we earn trophies or not. But guys, the pricing here, $99.99 for the year. When you compare that down to the original pricing, which is $49.99 for PlayStation Plus Essential, essentially PlayStation Plus Now, I got to say, I've never in my life ever paid the ticket price for PlayStation Plus, ever. Never. I've never just bought it off the store at its intended cost. And I want to share with you guys what the best way that I have found to be able to get this price down for the premium, down to the lowest we possibly can do. So I crunched the math. If you were to buy a £100 card on CD keys, that would cost you $89.99. If you go through Top Cashback before going on to CD keys, you can get a further 5.5% off that, which means that for the year, you can save yourself a good 15 quid because you can get that down to £85. So really, that's not half bad. Plus, you'll earn the cashback on top of that, which you'll get paid into your account, which is where you get, the extra £5 there from that saving. So 85 quid, that's the cheapest that I can possibly work it out at the moment. If anybody has any other top tips for ways you can save this down and really cut down some cash on this, please write into the email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Let us know what money-saving tips you got. At the end of the day, we're not getting this stuff for free from Sony. We got to pay for it. And if we can save a couple of quid, why not? Now, guys, before we end this topic and we end the show, we've had one question here. And it's from a frequent guest to the show, Potato Chief himself, the Xbox expert, has written in following this news at Spartacus. Now, his question is, he said, what are your thoughts on the PlayStation 5 digital after the PlayStation Plus update? He's saying that it feels more tempting than it used to, and also the PS5 digital looks nicer. So guys, what are your thoughts on this? Does the PlayStation Plus digital system have more value now, following this news, than it did previously?
I think PS5 digital is certainly a lot more attractive now. I think it also depends. We haven't heard anything about day and date yet.
You're talking more like the Xbox Game Pass model.
Yes, 100% what I mean. And I can't imagine it works too well for Xbox. Granted, they're still doing it. They haven't stopped. I don't know why.
I mean, they got Big Daddy Microsoft there, don't they, to be able to cough up the bill. So I don't think they're overly worried for their business model. But Jim Ryan's come out actually on this, and he's already said that they're not going to do it. That basically, if PlayStation did do this, that their first-party studios would suffer, and their products would suffer. They wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to afford to put them straight into PlayStation Plus. That you start seeing different elements come in to kind of capture on monetization or something else. And I got to say, when you compare this to Game Pass, it's a very different kind of model from Game Pass. Because Game Pass is all about, getting them into the ecosystem, keeping them there with quality titles which come out every couple of months. Now, the reality of that has never actually happened. Let's be real about it. We've not seen that strategy come to fruition yet. I don't know if it's something that will come to fruition by later into the console generation, but we're, a year and a half in, more than that, into this console generation, and so far, what have we had? We've got a half-baked Halo. We got Forza, which came out and was really well received, actually, so I'll give it its due there. And Flight Sim. That's about it, right? Xbox are really struggling at the moment to be able to put content out. Now, I don't know if that's linked to Game Pass. In fact, I don't think it's got anything really to do with Game Pass. But the one thing that's for damn sure is that you're not really going to be seeing the money come in the short term with this model, because people are buying, when it comes to Xbox now, they're buying like a year's subscription for like $3 and like, doing these workarounds to be able to get this as cheap as they humanly can and stacking it up for years and years and years. Sony can't afford to do that. And if they did do that, there is no doubt in my mind that they wouldn't be leading the gaming landscape when it comes to their releases every single year. We talked about earlier on the show, we talked about Returnal, like clean sweeping at the BAFTAs. And I don't think you'd have that level of quality on what is essentially, especially this year so far, we've had like 2 incredible games that were exclusive to the platform in like 1 month with Sifu and Horizon. I don't think that we'd have those kind of experiences if Sony were going down a day and date PlayStation Plus model, because they'd end up incorporating some kind of bullshit monetization feature. And it was only last episode we were talking about how Gran Turismo was doing that. I don't want that anywhere near my games. Nowhere near it.
I don't want anything to happen. I know that's just going to make us suffer as well as the developers. I don't want that at all. I'm happy to buy my games because we pay for quality, and I'm happy to continue to do so. We get phenomenal games. But bringing it back to like how this affects the digital PS5, I can certainly see people buying the digital console more now. I'm sure most of the people that have bought digital so far are just buying it because the physical's out of stock. And I think that's what's caused most of the digital sales, because people just want a PS5. But now with this coming out, there's actual reason to get it. That's a cool thing. It is a cool thing. And it's like a whole £100 cheaper, which is basically your year's subscription. So I can certainly see the appeal to digital. I'm not sure if I agree it looks nicer.
I think you're probably still a little bit hungover, mate, because the digital PS5 looks way nicer than the physical one. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you got a big bulbous little arse on the PlayStation 5 with the disc tray is. It doesn't look anywhere near as sleek as the digital one does. The digital one definitely looks miles better in my opinion. However, my opinion on this, before I hand over to Phil to get his thoughts on this question, is that I don't think this makes any difference whatsoever. I really don't. I don't think the PlayStation Plus changes the fundamental argument here, which is, do you ever want the ability to buy a second-hand game? If your answer is no, great. Digital's the way for you. If you do want to be able to swap games with your friends or to be able to pick one up from CX or anywhere else that you get your games from, eBay, whatever it is, physical. Because the extra subscriptions give you access to other content and to legacy games, but it's not going to be all of them. And it might not be the one you want. And it might be a case that your digital code is going to cost you 70 quid for you to be able to get, God of War Ragnarok when it comes out. But 2 weeks later, you can pick it up on Facebook Marketplace for 50 quid from some guy who just completed it down the road. And you won't be able to do that with a digital copy. So I think really the fundamental argument just comes down to, how do you enjoy playing your games? Do you like having things physical, or do you not care? In which case, I'd say physical is definitely the best option for you. Whereas if you're like, I don't have the space, I don't want to have these boxes cluttering the place, I'm only going to buy digital, then save yourself the 100 quid, get digital. But I don't really think this makes any difference whatsoever to your purchasing decision on physical or digital. That's just my thoughts, though. What about yourself, Phil? Where are you coming down on this one?
Well, listeners of the podcast know that I think the PlayStation 5, design-wise, is horrific. There is nothing attractive about the PS5, digital or physical. Both of them suck. They are disgusting consoles to look at. Let's go back to the PS1. It's a work of art. I've got it set up in my office, and every time I come in, I look at it and go, ooh. It's the woman in the red dress. When she walks past, your eyes lock and you cannot look away. The PS1 is sexy. Where did the design philosophy go wrong?
I think that's a madness, personally. Like a grey, boring ass, grey PS1. I mean, I would just pull mine up now, but I can't be bothered to go and get it. It's a great console, don't get me wrong, but it's just grey. Who the fuck wants grey? It looks like it just lived in a smoker's house forever. It looks terrible. The best console design, in my opinion, is, I'd probably say the PS5 digital. I love it. I think the design is gorgeous. I really do. I love it. I do. I think it looks stunning. Either that or the George Foreman PS3. I love that console design. That console design looks amazing. Anything that looks like I can toast a sandwich in it gets a go from me.
There we go. I think we agree on the PS3, but oh my God. The PS5, it just makes me sick looking at it. What even is it? That stupid little stand. I can never get it to look good underneath my TV. It's horrific, mate. Give me the PS1 or give me any of the other PlayStations. They're all much nicer to look at than the PS5. But that doesn't take away from my love for the PS5. You guys know I'm a physical guy. I buy my games physically. That's why I'm not really going to be going for the premium angle, because I have so many previous titles and I have them all displayed, and I have the old consoles. I can play them at any time. But when it comes to the physical version of the PS5 and people buying it, I think it could be a generational thing, right? I think older people, because they've grown up with physical, they want the physical one. They value that a bit more. But the younger generation coming into it, it's all digital. So that makes a lot of sense to them. And what Sony's now doing with the PlayStation Plus Premium, I think they're really trying to, jump into that market, that younger generation, and say, hey, you can have the digital console, as Potato Chief has mentioned, and you can have this amazing service.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. The only thing you got to be worried about is kind of the drama that's happened over this weekend since we recorded the earlier part of the episode on Friday. There's been some drama when it comes to the legacy systems, so PS3, PS Vita in particular, where games that were bought digital on those storefronts, all of a sudden, they've had their licenses suddenly revoked. And so it's saying that when you go to boot the game up that's already installed from the store, comes up with a warning saying that you'll pass expiration for this, and it comes up with like a date which is like 1st 1970. It's like some kind of weird glitch that's stopping people being able to access a lot of their digital content on these older systems. And the good thing is that if you had it physical, you never have to worry about that, because you just put the disc in, done. So I think going forward, you're safer always with physical content rather than digital. Other than the fact that you could lose it, it could burn, it could get destroyed, it could get stolen.
Someone with a baseball bat could come in and smash up the case.
Yes, that could happen as well. That's very likely, that one. So yeah, I think outside of those kind of physical dangers that you have, which are real dangers, I think you are generally speaking now safer with a more physical system than a digital one. So Potato Chief, I hope that's kind of answered your question. Phil and Spencer seem to kind of be in agreement that yes, they feel that the PlayStation 5 digital has more worth now with this extra additions to PlayStation Plus. Personally, I don't think it really makes too much difference. I think, as I said, it comes down to your personal preference in how you consume media. But if you, the audience, have any questions that you want to ask us, then just like Potato Chief did, number of ways that you can reach out to us as a podcast. The first is writing into the email, pswetrust@gmail.com.
Another way is reaching out to us on Twitter or even just @ing us in any tweets you find, because we'll be able to see it that way. You can reach out to us at @NPSWeTrust or any of our individual Twitter accounts. We check those every single day. It's our personal Twitters. Just @ us into something as well. We'll always see it.
And you can join us on Reddit. The conversation is flowing. The URL will be in the description. And of course, anything you guys post out, I'll be the first to reply.
I just want to say, guys, thank you to everyone who's been putting ratings on our Spotify page. We're noticing them going up every single episode now. Remember, if you want to support us, the best way of doing so is by leaving a rating on your podcast service of choice. We're currently pimping out for Spotify. That's where most of you listen to the show. If you're on YouTube watching this, then hi. Thanks for watching. Remember to put a like on the video and subscribe. It all helps us with the algorithm on that. And with Spotify, putting the ratings on there helps, regardless of whatever you rate it, okay? Really, really appreciate all of you doing that. Thank you ever so much. But that has been it for episode 40, the big quiz. And I got to say, guys, it's been nice kind of doing this sign-off sober. Because normally it just ends in I think we're done, guys. Bye. And then we just end. So it's been quite nice to be able to get our spiels out here. But thank you for listening. I've been Davey.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. See ya.